Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Momo's Reading again. This week we are going to talk about another Colleen Hoover book that I had mentioned in the last video, Woman Down. So this one literally just came out a matter of months ago, if that, and it really has been controversial, mostly because pretty much everybody who's read it agrees that it is a self-insert for Colleen Hoover, and she is very honestly talking about how she feels about the writing industry and the publishing space and backlash that she's gotten. And I thought it was a really interesting comparison to how she used to write about writing back like when she was writing Verity and her original books. And so this week we are going to take a look at Woman Down and kind of compare and contrast it with Verity and see how she writes writers now versus how she used to write writers. In this book, it was something. I honestly, I don't want to say that I enjoyed it, because there was a lot of parts about it I did not enjoy and I did not think were super great. But I did think that this one had a much more interesting end than almost every other Colleen Hoover book I've written that I've read. So I'm, you know, we'll see. Well, a little disclaimer before we get started. This book is going to contain some pretty intense critiques of Colleen Hoover and of this book in particular. That being said, if you enjoyed this book, if you enjoy Colleen Hoover, anything like that, that is totally okay. It is totally okay for us to critique and look a little deeper into the things that we enjoy or didn't enjoy. And this is simply here to just flex our media literacy a little bit and to take a little bit of a deeper dive into, a lot of things that people might look at a very surface level thing. And yeah, so that being said, this review is not for Colleen Hoover. This review is not for Colleen Hoover super fans. And if that's you and you think that watching this might be upsetting to you, it is totally fine to skip over it. You can always come back to the next one. That is totally okay. But this is all in good fun. And like I said, if you enjoyed this book or you enjoy Colleen Hoover, this is just for fun. So enjoy it. So let's get started. So before we get into chapter 1, I think it's interesting to note, so Colleen Hoover put a little author's note into the beginning of this one, and I think it's really interesting. Oh yeah, also no trigger warnings. She always writes triggering books, no trigger warnings, literally nothing at all, not even Frida McFadden, look at my website, which I also think is bullshit, literally nothing. So fuck her for that, honestly. But yeah, so she puts in this little author's note, which I think is very ironic because she has been so defensive, being like, this isn't a self-insert, this isn't a self-insert, you guys are reading too much into it. Girl, be so for real. Because she literally says, some of you might remember the short story Saint from the One More Step anthology years ago, blah, blah, blah. That anthology has since been unpublished, which I think is interesting. But she was talking about how she wanted to expand on this. And she literally even says, I took the short story some of you read and poured my heart and soul into expanding it. It has taken me 3 years to release a book since It Starts With Us. Not because I've been rewriting Saint for those 3 years, but because I've been trying new things outside writing. And frankly, I needed some space from a career I was beginning to find more stressful than normal. So the big crux of this and why it seems so much, like a self-insert is because, so Colleen Hoover wrote It Ends With Us, and then I believe It Starts With Us is actually like a prequel that she wrote after It Ends With Us, but that got adapted into a movie, into a film with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, and was a whole big thing because there's been a giant lawsuit from Blake Lively saying that Justin Baldoni essentially kind of sexually harassed her on the scene, made on the set, made things uncomfortable. It's a whole thing. It's been a lot of back and forth. I'm not really going to get into that, but just know that that happened. There was a lot of drama with that movie, and it has been very hotly debated since. That's really all that's important out of that. So I think it's very interesting that she opens this by saying, yeah, like, I haven't written anything since I was writing about that story. Because it's still the same world. Like, even if it's a prequel, it's the same fucking story. We're talking about the same people, the same interactions. And that she specifically notes that she stopped writing and has been doing other things besides writing because writing was really stressful to her. But she says, just please keep in mind that while writers do take from their own lives, and some of the themes may mirror those of my lives in ways, this is no way a replica of my journey or my morals, nor is it a reflection of how I feel about my peers and this industry. I beg of you, do not try to make ties between my personal life and this story, as there is none. Girl, be so for real. You will understand more why I'm annoyed about this as we go through, because it's literally like a carbon copy of what happened to her, essentially. Like, it's a different based drama about the film, but it's the same shit. It's the same shit. And it's like, I'm so sorry if you write a story that you have to try to caveat so much of this isn't about real life, this isn't about real life, this isn't about real, thou doth protest too much, methinks. This is a self-insert. Girl, you can just, you can, I get why she's being defensive, because she said some not great things about the industry, and also this character does some things that I do think actually are outside of Colleen Hoover's morals. I do not think that this is a self-insert in the sense that Colleen Hoover would do bad things outside of her marriage. I don't even know if she is married. Or that part of the story, I don't think that's a self-insert. Or some of the drama and stuff that we get into later in the book, I don't think necessarily that part of it is a self-insert. I think it's more the writing, how she feels about the industry, how she feels about fans and signings and press tours and social media, that part of it I think comes directly from her life. And the fact that she's protesting so much before you've even read a chapter of the book is, I feel a very telling sign. Again, we're protesting a little too much here. So in chapter 1, we are introduced to Petra Rose, who is our main character. She is essentially Colleen Hoover. She is a popular book. She writes a lot of suspense / romance types of books, and we're introduced to her through a podcast where she's not on the podcast, she's listening to the podcast, and they're talking about the drama that she just went through because one of her novels that was really popular got adapted into a movie, and most people were not happy with the adaptation. They didn't like that one of the main characters was removed from it. And then, she had come out and said I didn't want that. I wanted the character in there. I thought the character should be in there. But texts were released between her and the producer where she admitted that they should take that character out, and she was fine with that and didn't really think that that needed to be in there. So essentially she lied to her entire fan base, and really upset people, and it was a bad film adaptation, which the It Ends With Us movie was fucking terrible. The book is not good either. Don't get me wrong. We are going off of very shaky writing in the first place. But the adaptation was terrible. Blake Lively did a terrible job. It was filmed poorly. Like, the whole thing, a flop. So, essentially, Petra, in this book, also just went through a flop and then lied to her audience about it. So, everybody is very rightfully upset at her, and she handles it so bad. Like, she is putting it on like her audience the entire time, which they are like rightfully upset. Like, one of the ladies says like, they feel personally betrayed, as do I. She lied to us. She chose the industry over the intimacy that made her book matter and the fandom that made her a star. She erased everything that made us love this book in the first place, and then blamed it on a few critiques she received, despite hundreds of thousands of readers who praised it. And it's like, yeah, girl, they're right to be upset at you. I would also be upset at you. Like, you changed everything about the book and then you lied to everybody about it and pretended that you didn't want that when you absolutely did agree to that and like were promoting it. Like, you're trying to make yourself a victim and you are not a victim. Like, and then she, she turns the podcast off and she literally says things like, I'm being forced to shut myself away in a grimy cabin and write a book I've been attempting to write since this whole movie fiasco started, just so I don't lose my house now that my sales have taken a note. Bro, this is your job. You are not being forced against your will to do your fucking job. If you don't like doing your job, get a different job. Nobody asked you to be an author. Nobody asked you to write these things. Like, stop acting like someone is holding a gun to your head and forcing you to write. I think we would all be begging Colleen Hoover to stop writing. Actually, I would love if you got a different job. Please try more things outside writing, because this ain't it. It's not. It's not it. Please try something else. Like, the privilege is nauseating throughout this book. She just, everything about Petra and in turn Colleen Hoover just oozes white woman privilege, like rich white woman privilege. Like, the fact that you're acting like it's such a inconvenience to you to literally sit alone and hang out. And she says a grimy cabin, it's beautiful. She rents like nice ass Airbnbs. It's not like she owns like a tiny little cottage she fixed up herself or something. She is like renting very nice Airbnbs with like right on the lake, perfect view, like, because she's kind of mad that she has to like get one that has a slightly different view. Even though it's like fully renovated, it's beautiful, it's brand new. She's mad because she has to rent one that has a slightly different view than what she's used to. So it's like, you are so privileged, and the fact that you're complaining about that and acting like you're being forced to do that when there's people out here working like 3-4 jobs just try to keep like a studio fucking apartment for them and their kids. Like, it's disgusting. I hate her attitude. And then she starts talking more about the actual like writing industry and the things that she has to say about that. No wonder you put a caveat, because if I was one of your friends or anybody else in the space, I also wouldn't like you. I wouldn't like you. Because she says things like, this is a career, and as much as I've always hoped the friends I made in this career would also be my friends outside of it, I'm beginning to realize we're all just unhappy coworkers trying to survive until we retire. Like, which is like, don't get me wrong, like, I get the concept of like, yeah, like sometimes you think you're gonna meet besties and like they end up just being like situational friends because you guys are like in the same, career, like you're doing the same job. I totally get that. Like, I've had coworkers that I thought would be like long-term friends, and then I leave that job and like never talk to them again. Like, I understand that concept, but it's just the way that she writes with so much privilege and just so much, I don't know, just like everybody is less, like everybody is inferior to her. Like she really considers herself like the cream of the crop. And it's just like she even says like, writer's block clamped down on me like a suffocating trap that arrived precisely when my name started appearing in articles beyond the literary sphere. It's a cruel irony, isn't it? One person's dream of widespread recognition can so easily become another's nightmare. Yeah, like you're literally complaining about being rich and famous. Like, can you actually shut the fuck up? Like, Petra is so unlikable, and I will say she never gets more likable. Ever. Like, she remains a bad person from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. And again, this book falls into the same Colleen Hoover trap that literally always happens, where every single woman in this book is a bad person. Like, there are no redeemable women in this book. There's really only two main women in this book, and like Petra and then her best friend Nora, both of them are bad people. Nora won't seem like a bad person at first. She's not great. So it's like I don't know how Colleen Hoover sits here and like expects all of her readers to want to just sit here and read books over and over again where every single person in the book is a bad person. Like, every Colleen Hoover book I've ever read has not had a single remarkable or redeemable character in it. Like, I get that you're trying to write suspense, but like you can write suspense that has good people in it or interesting characters. Like they don't all have to be one-dimensional and evil. Like that's not, we don't have to do that. And, you know, her best friend calls her and is trying to convince her to come back to social media because she has taken about a year-long break since all of this drama happened. She's kind of just disappeared off the internet. She talks about, which this is like a personal gripe, but I am starting to discover, and I really felt it with this book, that I don't think I like books that are written like in the modern day. Or because I have read books that are written in the modern day that I really enjoy. Like Project Hail Mary just came out, and not only do I love that book, but the movie, excellent. And like that's set into modern day, and I didn't hate it, but the amount of times they talk about Facebook and TikTok and things like that, I don't know. It's one thing to like reference like laptops and cell phones and texting and stuff like that. Like I don't have a problem with that, like in a novel, but there's something about the constant mention of TikTok and Facebook that just takes me like right out of the book. Like if I wanted to talk about TikTok, I would just go on TikTok. Like I don't want to be reading about TikTok. And that's just like that's a personal gripe. Like that has no bearing on if the book is good or not. I'm just discovering that I do not like it. I do not like all of these mentions of TikTok and Facebook because they have like a lot of back and forth because her and Nora used to go live in their private Facebook group a lot. And obviously Petra has taken a very long break from that because she doesn't want to be held accountable for anything. That's really it. Like she doesn't want to be questioned and she doesn't want to have to like face anybody and own up to the fact that she lied and she was a bad person. Like it is just her running away from accountability. And so yeah, there's a lot of back and forth where Nora is like trying to convince her to come back to Facebook and Petra's like very hesitant about it. Chapter 2 is literally just a painting on why Petra is the most insufferable, entitled person. So she is like driving, you know, to the cabin while she was like listening to that podcast and stuff. So she gets to the cabin, and as she's driving, she realizes that there's a house on the same road, and she's already pissed about it because she doesn't want to be around people. She likes to just be like on her own, which to be fair, like when it comes to writing and stuff like that, like I do get that, like not wanting interruptions. And to be fair, the people that are there they own the cabin and they're the ones renting it out. They are a little annoying. So I do like understand some of the frustration, but it's like the way that she talks about all of these things is insufferable. Like she literally says things like, well, first of all, one of her complaints about like why she doesn't want neighbors is she says, I once booked a writing retreat and met the neighbors before I even made it in the front door. It was a group of women on a girls' weekend, and I ended up getting drunk with them every night and not getting a bit of work done. Like, you're acting like that's their fault. Like, that's a you problem. Like, you could have done your job. You could have done what you were there to do, and you personally decided not to and decided to get drunk the whole time. Like, that's on you. And so she drives up to the house and she goes, I audibly groan as I reach the end of the driveway and see a human, a living, breathing human on the front porch of the property I'm pulling into. With all the advancements in technology, there's absolutely zero reason the rental host for this cabin should be meeting me in person, but here he is. I don't even know him, and I already find him the most irritating thing in the world. God forbid someone try to be a nice host. Because, like, don't get me wrong, like, this guy and his wife are, like, mildly annoying. But, like, they're not bad people. Like, they are nice people who are, like, just trying to be kind. And she literally treats them like they are the scum of the earth. And it's like, God forbid someone try to be a nice host to you. Like, all right. And then this part also irritated me. Out of nowhere, unprompted, nothing prompts us. It's just the guy. There's no dog here. She says, because she had said, I already find him the most irritating thing in the world. I take that back. The shape of corgis is pretty damn irritating. There's something about a corgi that's just unfinished. It's as if God started making a dog breed and walked away from them when he was only halfway into the design. Like, she has a whole multiple paragraphs where she's just shitting on corgis. She literally says, I feel like it's a cosmic mistake walking around on 4 legs. If there was a corgi at this guy's feet, I'd question whether I had died and gone to hell. There's no dog. He doesn't have a dog. There is no dog mentioned in this entire book. Why did we get 2 paragraphs of hate on corgis? Not only are corgis adorable and, like, pretty well-behaved and kind dogs, there's no dog. Why are we shitting on corgis? Why are we calling them a cosmic mistake? And I might be taking that personally because I love corgis, but it's like, why was that necessary? Why was that even included? Like, why? It also personally bothers me if you're gonna shit on something this hard, unprompted, for no reason, to just be a piece of shit, basically, you could at least do it with good grammar. The shape of corgis is pretty damn irritating. Like, it doesn't sound right. Like, that sentence doesn't even flow correctly. Like, nothing has made me hate Petra, I think, more than that paragraph. Because just, like, why? Honestly, that's the question I end up asking myself the most of the time when I'm reading Colleen Hoover. Why? Then she goes back and forth with this guy for a little while. She's mad that he helps her with his luggage, or helps her with her luggage. And then she's mad that he says, I haven't read any of her books, but we did watch your movie. And then, to be fair, he does, like, the kind of, like, oh, like, my life would be interesting to write about. Like, that could make you millions. So, like, yeah, that's annoying. This person's just here trying to live their life. Like, don't try to force yourself on them. But she just shits on everything, because she goes in and then she says, the interior is far more modern than I expected. Clean lines, smooth finishes, like it's been plucked straight out of a design magazine. The rustic exterior was just a facade. Inside, everything gleams. And she hates it. She's so mad about it. And it's like, okay, I do get it. Like, you know, like you're looking for more of a rustic cabin that you're pretending like people are forcing you into. And instead you get a super nice, super like fancy one because they just remodeled it. Like, why are you mad that you get something even nicer? And that like like it's a beautiful place and she's acting like someone's holding a gun to her head. She even acknowledges, I am such an ungrateful brat. Who would be sad to stay in a place this gorgeous? Yeah, girl. You are an ungrateful brat. You are literally an ungrateful brat with every single sentence you say, and then you don't get better for the whole book. So, yeah, you're right. Like, apparently self-awareness is not always helpful because you don't get better. And then she complains for like paragraphs and paragraphs that it's not facing the exact direction she wants it because she wants to be able to watch the sunset without going outside. Like she can't just walk 2 steps out the door and watch the sunset. You're still on the edge of the lake. You can see the sun. You just don't have a convenient giant window facing directly at the sunset. Take 2 steps outside. Like, she complains about this off and on throughout the entire book, but she complains about it for paragraphs and paragraphs. And it's like, you literally admitted that you looked this place up on Google Maps before you booked it. So you were already aware of this. Like, why are you so mad about it now? Like, you knew it didn't face that direction. You literally looked it up before this. Like, what are you even complaining about right now? Like, you booked it. You paid for it. Shut up. She literally says, but I booked so late this time around, I had to settle for an east-facing backyard view, and I feel the difference in every fiber of my insecure, untalented being. The fucking privilege this dumb bitch has. She literally even says, I can't get away from myself or my recognizable name, even to a guy that's older than my father and lives in the middle of nowhere. No matter how much I try to hide from being Petra Rose, I'm here, I'm there, I'm every fucking where. On the cover of People, on the homepages of E! News and TMZ, on podcasts with only 2,000 followers. She says like that's a low number. And it's like, do you literally hear what you're complaining about? Like, you wonder why people don't like you, Colleen Hoover. Look at you. Look at the way you talk about yourself. Because let's be so real, you're talking about yourself here. Like, you are not talking about this fake character you created. Like, you are talking about yourself. You're insufferable. You have so much privilege. It's gross. You're gross. Chapter 3 is just a lot more of Petra complaining. I promise the story does go somewhere later, but we've got a lot of Petra complaining before it does. She's complaining about, again, the way that the house is facing. Like, she didn't fucking rent it herself and literally choose it. And she goes, yes, I'm blaming the sun and the lack thereof for my inability to write. Just like I blamed the weather, my digestive health, Mercury in retrograde, caffeine, men. Maybe you're just a bad writer. Maybe you're just not good at this job. Maybe you should just do a different job instead of being insufferable and blaming everyone else for your problems. I don't know. Just a thought. You could literally be doing anything else. And she talks a little bit more about writer's block, complains about renting again. She complains about where she comes from. She says, that's why I rent these places, transforming into a temporary lakeside hermit multiple times a year. All to shed the suffocating skin of Sacramento. The city, bless its heart, often feels like a giant, noisy concrete hug I never asked for. You chose it. You did ask for it. You choose to live there. You have money. You could live anywhere. You could also live a lot cheaper places because you're complaining about money. Like, you are actively choosing to live there. Don't say you didn't ask for it. Like, you did. You 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 literally did. And she complains again about there being a guy there. And then Nora calls her and they start talking back and forth again about Nora trying to convince her to come back and do the Facebook Lives again, which, like I said, I did not love this. I do not love pages of us talking about TikTok and Facebook. Like, I don't know, it just took me so out of the story. And, they're literally talking about their lives for like pages and pages and pages. They're not interesting. So she mentions at one point, I, the author who used to churn out 2 books a year with effortless grace, haven't been able to finish the one I started 18 months ago. Wow, does that sound familiar to the note that Colleen Hoover put in there at the beginning of this book? But also it's like, I literally wrote, this is not the brag that you think it is. I'm so sorry. Don't get me wrong, like, there are good writers who can write quickly. Most of the time, people who are churning out books quickly, they are not good writers. You are writing slop. Colleen Hoover writes slop. And you can enjoy it. That's fine. There's no problem with that. I'm not judging you if you enjoy it. It is slop, though. Like, these are not good books. They are not well written. They don't have good plot lines. They don't have good characters. They don't have good writing. Like, this is not a brag. You are bragging about the fact that you can churn out piss poor work. Like, that's not a brag, but okay. And, like I said, they're talking about the lives forever and ever. And then another way, too, that I was like, okay, so, like, you're definitely just talking about your life, is in all this complaining that they're doing and talking about the lives and talking about how she can't face criticism, she directly mentions another book that's on, like, the best-selling charts. But instead of, like, making up a book, she chooses a real book that's actually her competition in real life. She directly says, first of all, stop reading your negative reviews. Second, almost every negative review calls the book or the characters unrealistic. It's the go-to term for reviewers who didn't like something. I personally don't need every single thing in a book to be realistic. Dragons aren't realistic, but Fourth Wing is killing it on the charts. Okay. Is someone a little salty that Fourth Wing is doing better than you? Which, like, don't get me wrong, I've got my own gripes about Fourth Wing. I went into that book expecting to love it, and I did like the very beginning, and then it plummeted so far and so fast, and I ended up absolutely despising it by the end. Like, by the end, it was absolutely a hate read. But I thought it was very telling that she specifically brought in a book that is real. Like, you could have made up any book ever, and you specifically chose something that's actually your competition. Like, that feels pointed. That feels like it hurt you a little bit that people aren't calling Fourth Wing unrealistic, but they call your books unrealistic. Like, you're not convincing me that this is not about you. Like, you are not convincing me at all. So they decide to go live, and it's really a cop-out because, like, Nora vets all the questions and she only asks, like, very easy questions. Like, there's no real depth to them. Petra doesn't actually have to really, like, take any accountability or really, like, face anything that she's done. Like, they're just very surface level questions. And Petra's actually, like, pretty happy about this when she ends. Like, she's like, okay, like, that wasn't nearly as bad as I like thought it was going to be. Like maybe like I can't dip my toes back into this, which I do think it is important for her to dip her toes back into it and to face accountability and like to confront this. And she does a little bit at the end of the book, but the fact that she's like patting herself on the back so hard when it's like you avoided anything hard, you refused to look at the comments, couldn't even look at the questions, had to have your best friend vet them all, and she like specifically picked ones that like wouldn't hurt your feelings. And it's like you're not actually taking accountability. Like you're patting yourself on the back like you just like you're Sisyphus like pushing the boulder up the hill, and like you're not. Like you're doing a Facebook Live, for fuck's sake. Why are you acting like you're a martyr? It's a Facebook Live, and one that you didn't even take any accountability on. Not much happens in chapter 4. She talks about her 5-hour energy addiction. Okay. Sure. That's fine. And then the neighbor's wife, neighbor is Louis. He's the guy that owns the cabin. His wife Mari comes over, and she talks a little bit about how like she's an actress, like they travel to LA sometimes because she does like Discovery, like in what is it called, Investigation Discovery, like the ID channel. She does like reenactments for it sometimes, and she's very much painted to be like a very annoying character. And honestly, like Mari's one of the few characters I actually like. And I don't want to say that she's a woman that Colleen Hoover actually wrote to not be terrible and awful, because like she's very much portrayed as terrible and awful. She's portrayed as annoying, she's portrayed as nosy and pushy. She has a lot of comebacks that are like very much seen to be rude. She is overbearing. Like she is very much written about in a very negative way. Like you are supposed to feel negatively about her, but she just checks Petra all the time, and because of that I really like her. Like like one of the things she says, "You're so pretty, successful, and attractive. It's everything I dreamed of being. I kind of hate you." I like it. That's so real, girl. That's so fucking real. Like, like literally from this chapter, like I'm supposed to hate her. I kind of love her already. Like, she's kind of great. And then she ends it by saying, "I know, I'm a lot to take in, but you'll miss me once I'm no longer here. I'm the type of person who seems overwhelming up front, but once you get to know me, I'm, well, still overwhelming, but at least you'll know me." And Petra just thinks she's like the worst, but I love her. Like, go girl, get it. Like, know your worth. Like, know what you like. Like, I don't know. She's just unabashed, and I enjoy that about her. Even if I'm supposed to hate her, I don't. Mamari's great. So, but yeah, that's all that happens in chapter 4. Chapter 5, she's woken up at like 5 in the morning by a cop outside of her door, and she is obviously confused, bewildered, nervous, etc. She decides to open the door, and she is introduced to Officer Nathaniel Saint, and she instantly is like, oh my god, he's so hot. Holy shit, he is so hot. And she had mentioned earlier that she, like, in the story that she's trying to write, like, her main character is a cop, but that, like, she just, like, is not having a good time writing them. Like, she's just having a really hard time, which, like, of course, cops are the worst. What, like, I hate that all of this was, like, just sucking cops' dicks, too. Like, ew. And I'm not even gonna get into all that, but, like, that also made me not like this. Like, ew. You like a cop? You're writing books about cops? Like, ugh. But he tells her that there was like a police pursuit that ended, and that like on her road, and that like the guy that they was like running from the cops like killed himself. And you know, she's obviously like, oh my god, like can't believe that that happened. But she like is so unpreoccupied with the fact that someone possibly just died like feet away from where she's staying, and all she can think about is, oh my god, this cop is so hot. He's so hot, but he's wearing a wedding ring. Like, of course he's married. But she, in her book, like, the cop that the main character of her book gets with is married. It's like a love triangle situation. Like, the main character is like having an affair with this cop. So instantly she's like, oh my god, this is my muse. Like, hot cop, he's married. Like, again, so privileged, so self-absorbed that she literally doesn't care that someone died feet away from her house. All she cares about is that there was a hot cop there. And he gives her his card, and he's basically like, you know, if you need me, whatever, let me know. Like, I might need to get a statement from you, but like, you know, if you need anything in the meantime, just let me know. And so she talks to Nora, chapter 6. She talks to Nora and like, because she, after the cop leaves, she ends up writing quite a bit. So she sends it to Nora, and she's like, oh my god, like, I found my muse. Like, there was a hot cop. And then Mari shows up, and they essentially just have the same conversation again of like, oh my god, did you see that hot cop? Like, isn't it so crazy that that happened? Like, and then Mari says a couple of the things that I love. She goes, because she's talking about like, which of your books should I read? Whatever. And she says, you know, stop that self-depreciation. It's so unattractive. Later she said, I'll visit your website. What is it? Thepitifulpetra.com? Roast this bitch. Roast her, Mari. I love you. Roast her. And then she, before she leaves, Mari says, maybe we'll get lucky and Louis will have a heart attack so we have an excuse to call the cops over again. And she goes, Jesus, Mari. And she goes, a mild one. I don't want him to die. Who would drive me to Los Angeles for all my auditions? Like, I love Mari. Mari is the best. Even if I'm supposed to think she's annoying and awful, I love her. So Petra goes back and forth for a while, and she decides that which this also bothered me. He said, call me if you need anything. And it's a cop giving you like his, you know, official card with his number on it saying, call me if you need anything. And she texts him, which is like, first of all, he didn't even say to do that. And also like, in this, like, it does end up being his personal phone, so like she can text it, but like most of the time, like, they're giving you like a work number. Like, you're probably going to like a desk or like a work phone. Like, why would you be texting it? Like, why would you not, like, who texts someone at their place of business rather than like calling them? I thought that was so weird. Like, girl, why are you trying to text him right now? But she texts him and basically asked him if he can come over, because she asked if they still need a statement, and he's like, no, we don't. Like, it's all kind of wrapped up. Like, we're not worried about it. And so she asks if he can still come over, and she can ask him some questions about her writing and like about what it's like to be a cop. And then he agrees, and she instantly is like, oh my god, I have to look hot. Like, the hot cop is coming over. So she like spends a bunch of time getting ready. He comes over, and she like cannot stop fawning over him. And instantly, like, it gets weird. Like, they, you know, they have some boring back and forth. It's just kind of, you know, just random, you know, they're talking about the statements, she's talking about the cabin, they're talking about writing a little bit. And then he talks about how he like watched her TikTok videos and like Googled her, which again, weird. I don't like that we're talking about TikTok. It's weird. It just brings me out of it. I don't like it. He says, in your text, you said you wanted to pick my brain. About what? You writing about a cop? He says it with a sexy emphasis. What does that mean? What the fuck is a sexy emphasis? And also, you couldn't write that in a least sexy way? Like, what? And they have some back and forth. He talks about, you know, she says, like, you know, it's romantic suspense. There's a love triangle, and the married cop is part of that triangle because he falls for a witness. It gets messy. And then he said, I'm not sure I can answer questions about a love triangle. I've never been in one, but everything else is fair game. And then they like flirt back and forth quite a lot. Like he keeps bringing up the love triangle thing. And then he keeps going like, you know, are there specific things that happen to Rhea, the main character, in the book that you've never experienced? And she's like, I need wine for this conversation. He's like, I'll take a glass. And, you know, she says, you know, Rhea is very different from me. I don't want you to think I took inspiration for her character from my own life. And he's like, I'm sure you took some. Like, it'd be impossible not to, wouldn't it? And, you know, she's talking about, like, their attraction and, you know, but the cop's married. And he goes, you know, how does that make Rhea feel? And it's very clear, like, she is instantly so into this. Like, she is, like, hot under the collar for this cop. And it's, like, really, like, think about this. Like, this man is supposed to be here essentially in, like, a professional context. And he is immediately, like, hitting on you and, like, insinuating that he like wants to sleep with you and like wants to create this love triangle when he's literally married. And this is like essentially kind of the first time you've met him because your first interaction was like maybe 5 minutes long. And it's like you don't see a problem with it. Like that's not concerning to you. Like you don't have a red flag that this man who's married that you barely know, have literally met one time for 5 minutes, is talking to you for like 10 minutes and he's automatically like insinuating that he like wants to sleep with you and like wants to give you like real world experience like your books so you can like understand your book character better. Like that's not a red flag to you? Like are you dumb? Like, and so he like, you know, they're talking back and forth about the triangle and he says, you know, that really does sound like something you'd have to experience before you'd be able to really nail the emotions. And she was like, exactly. Like, I thought, Colleen Hoover, I thought you could write about things that weren't from your life. Why are you now writing this whole book about how you can't write things if you haven't experienced them? His wife calls. He gets a phone call and he says, you know, it's my wife. And she's like, you know, you should probably answer that. And he goes, you're right. I should answer it. But he doesn't. Instead, he tosses the phone onto the counter, and before I can even process what's happening, he closes the gap between us. In an instant, his hands slip behind my head and his mouth is on mine. And she acts like this is attractive. This man you literally don't know, who's married, who you met like 10 minutes ago, is not only immediately insinuating that you want to sleep with him, but then he just kisses you while his literal wife is calling him. And I'm supposed to think that's attractive? Like, that's scary. Like, this man clearly only sees you as something to fuck. Like, he does not see you as a real human being. And the fact that he would betray his wife and everything so casually in 10 minutes of knowing you, like, you don't think that man has like an STD or something? You don't think he's done this with other people? Like, you are not safe. That is not a safe man. Like, that's gross. Like, he also doesn't know you. Like, how does he know you're safe? Like, I'm so sorry. Any man that would sleep with you or try to make out with you when he has a literal wife within 10 minutes of meeting you is disgusting. That's not attractive. That's gross. And it's gross that you're, like, encouraging this. And then he just leaves. And she is like, oh my God, that was, like, the best kiss ever. Girl. How is someone in their 40s so fucking stupid? Like, and it's so much pain of, like, I am supposed to support this and I am supposed to think this is attractive. I think you're a bad person. I think that you're stupid because this man's clearly going to hurt you. Like, this man is not a safe man to be around. And, like, everything about that is gross. You're gross. I don't like this. I don't like you. I don't like this. I don't like him. Ugh. Despite ending chapter 6 with saying, I am never telling a soul about that kiss, she starts chapter 7 by literally saying, I just told Mari about the kiss. Which it's like, you have painted Mari as this, like, annoying, irritating, like, bothersome woman, and then you immediately are, like, confessing these deep secrets about your life to her. Like, because, like, we'll get more into that later, because I'm not going to ruin the surprise, but, like, there are more reasons she should not have told Mari about this, and should have very much kept that to herself. And it's like, girl, what are you doing? Do you have 2 brain cells? Can they meet at some point in this book? I would love them to. And Mari is, like, encouraging, you know, she's, like, talking about how she, you know, she's only ever been with Louis, and, like, she kind of regrets that, and, like, she, you know, should have experienced more. She even says, like, have 0 regrets, Petra. Kiss all the men. And the women, too, while you're at it. Because there's some of us in this world who never got to do any of those fun things. Which, I'm kind of on Mari's side here. Like, she doesn't really know much about Petra to, like, know why Petra shouldn't be doing these things. So, you know, she's just like, live your life, girl. Have fun. And, like, I love that from her. You're right, Mari. And, you know, we're just going back and forth about how the kiss was so hot and she is just so happy that it happened. She even says, in fact, I feel so little guilt. I'm starting to wonder how far I can take this thing with Saint. I've picked up my phone several times to text him again, but each time I chicken out. So you are just a bad person. Like, a little aside from my real life, but today I randomly, like, stumbled upon this screenshot on Twitter and, like, found out that there is, like, an adultery subreddit, which, like, I guess I should have realized that was a thing, because I feel like there's a subreddit for, like, literally everything. But I was just, like, scrolling through because I was like, what could that possibly be like? And it's kind of fucking dismal, let me tell you. But it just, like, it reads like that. Like, a bunch of people just, like, proud of the fact that you are a piece of shit. Like, you are literally saying, like, I don't even care about that man's wife. Like, I feel so little guilt. I want to take this even further. And, like, she should be feeling some guilt of her own, not just on the wife part, too. Like, we'll get more into that later, but, like, there are layers to why this makes her a terrible person. And it's just, like, the fact that she cares so little about destroying both of their lives is crazy. And the fact that she's willing, like, I'm wondering how far I can take this. I'm supposed to root for this person? I'm supposed to root for this person. She's horrible. She's a horrible person. Why would I be? But she ends up texting him. She asks him to come over again. And she, like, he does basically the same thing. Like, he comes, he's like, I can only stay an hour. Like, I wish I could stay longer. And then they make out, and they do this, like, thing throughout the book where they, like, role play, essentially. She calls him Cam, which is the name that she picked for the dude in her book, and he calls her Rhea. And so, they have a little back and forth, like, how's your day, Rhea? Which, like, don't get me wrong, like, I am not shitting, while role play is, like, not really my thing, I'm not shitting on, like, the concept of role play in, like, a sexual relationship or just in a relationship. Like, especially, you've been married for a long time or whatever, like, I can totally understand, like, needing to mix it up and, like, needing to do something exciting. Like, I'm not shitting on the concept of role play as, like, an institution, but it's so cringy in this. Like, you don't even know this man, and you guys are, like, pretending to be book characters from this book that's not even written yet, and it just, you're literally just using that as an excuse to cheat. Like, to have an affair. Like, you don't care about like, it's not about the book. It's not about your writer's block. It's not about anything. You don't even have writer's block anymore. And she doesn't have writer's block for the rest of the book. Like, you are just doing this to be a bad person. And, like, to have an extra excuse on, like, why you should cheat. Like, and then they just go back and forth. At some point, this is important, she does tell him, because he says, does anything bad happen to Rhea in your book? And she says yes. And he says, what happens to her? And she goes, well, a lot, actually. She loses her best friend. There's an attempted kidnapping, a car chase. Someone breaks into her house. And he says, does anyone ever hurt her? And she says yes. She gets hurt towards the end of the book. The person who breaks into her house, after he ties her up, she realizes her arm is broken. And he says, does she know who is doing these things to her? She doesn't. Why do these things keep happening to her? Rhea is a lawyer. She has evidence that this character is trying to locate. And then they kind of go off and start just, like, talking about Petra's real life, which she is so not into. Like, she specifically says, like, I don't like this conversation. I liked pretending you had no idea about me or the noise online. They just go back and forth. He's like, I want you to write. I want you to publish. Like, I want to read everything you've written. Like, I just want you to finish this book. And she's like, oh my God, you want to read my book? And he's like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, why would I be helping you do all this shit if I didn't care about your book? Like, why would I be engaging in this role play? Like, be so for real. Again, Petra, can we have the 2 brain cells meet? I'm not asking for more than 2, but can we have them meet, please? Like, and it's all just so boring and uninteresting. Their conversation is just so bleh. Like, I don't care about any of it. Like, none of it is important. And then they make out some more. Someone calls, which it's implied that it's his wife. He goes out to answer it, and then he just leaves. He, like, doesn't even say goodbye, doesn't say anything, just leaves. So after he leaves, she writes more. End of the chapter. So chapter 8, she's writing in the morning, and then he texts her, and they have a little back and forth where he asks her, like, do your characters ever go out together? Like, do they ever take that risk? And she talks about how they go on, like, one date out to, like, this bar, but then they ended up just eating in their car because they're, like, too nervous to, like, face anything. And so they decide to meet up. And so she goes to this restaurant, and he's, like, sitting at the bar, and he instantly, like, is in the role-playing thing again. Like, she's like thinking that they're just like Petra and Saint. And he's immediately like, how'd your court case go? And she's like, oh, okay, so we're doing the role play thing again. Okay, I got it. So, you know, they have some more back and forth in role play. And then, you know, he acts like, oh my God, you know, it's like, we're so guilty. Like, we shouldn't be doing this. And so they decide to order food and go eat it in the car. And, you know, they eat their food in the car and then they make out a little bit. And then he kind of like, you know, seems real guilty, seems real concerned about getting caught and just kind of like dips out. And she like, they do have like a tiny bit of conversation where he like tells her a little bit about his real life, but then he is like, I don't like this. Like, I think we should just do the role play thing. Like, I don't want to talk about my real life. And then she ends the chapter after he leaves. She says, I pull out my phone after having that thought and jot it down as a note for my book. The man who always seems to be running from something, even when he's standing still. And she clearly thinks that this line is like the best line, the best sentence in fiction that exists. Like, girl, it's not even a good sentence. It's not even like a good, it wouldn't be a metaphor, but like it's not doing what you think it's doing. This, if I read that line in a book, I did read that line in a book, didn't think a thing about it. But like if I just read that line in a book, like it was just organically put in there rather than being like, oh my God, look at this sentence, is the best sentence ever written, would not even think twice about it. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of stupid. Move on to the next sentence. Like, the fact that she thinks that this is the epitome of writing says a lot about Colleen Hoover's level of writing. And I will note that every little bit of writing that like we get, like we periodically get little excerpts from like Petra's book that she's writing, they're terrible. Everybody in this book treats her like she is like the best writer ever, and every excerpt is horrible. It is not good. Like, let me just read this one to you. The sterile scent of the interview room, a mix of old coffee and stale air, did little to calm the frantic beating of Rhea's heart. Across the table, Detective Miller's voice was a low, steady rumble, asking questions about Sarah, about the last time Rhea saw her. Each word felt like a fresh cut, tearing open the wound of losing her best friend. Yet, a part of Rhea, a deeply unsettling and unwelcome part, registered the way the detective's uniform stretched across his broad shoulders, the dark intensity of his eyes as he scribbled notes. She hated herself for it, for the fleeting spark of attraction that flickered within her, a betrayal of Sarah's memory. Not only is that just arguably not very good writing, but on top of that, it is giving ChatGPT so fucking hard. Like, there are quite a few parts in this that are kind of giving ChatGPT a little bit, and any part that is like Petra's writing is really giving ChatGPT. Like that, like the thing where like it says like the beginning of it, like each word felt like a fresh cut, or actually, hold on. Where it says like, yeah, a part of Rhea, a deeply unsettling and unwelcome part, registered the way the detective's uniform stretched across his broad shoulders, comma, the dark intensity of his eyes as he scribbled notes. That like adding an additional like fragment of a sentence onto the end of a sentence is very ChatGPT. Like that, like, because not only is that like not proper grammar, like that's not the way a sentence flows. Like you cannot just jam a fragment of a sentence at the end of another sentence, let alone doing that in almost every single sentence in the paragraph. Like that's something that AI does, and it's not grammatically correct, and also it sounds stupid. Like it that is not how good writers write. Like and it's just, I'm just tired of hearing about how Petra is like the best writer ever, and this is the quality of the things that she is writing. Like, if you want me to believe that your character who is a writer is a good writer, then you should probably make them a good writer. Like, even if you have to get somebody else to write Petra's parts, because clearly, like, you are not up to it. Like, let's not ask ChatGPT to do it instead. Let's not. Let's. And I'm not saying that she did. I'm not saying that she did use AI, but like, clearly, she's been engaging with it in some way because she's starting to write like it, and it's like I'll sure I'm sure all of this came from her brain, but it's like I don't love it. I don't like it at all. And it's like, when we were talking about Verity, like, not only did Verity have, like, Lowen in the book Verity had a much different, like, approach and view on writing. Like, she very much, like, they're both deeply insecure characters, but Lowen was more just like, I can't believe anybody, like, reads my writing, and, like, they actually want to, like, keep reading my writing, and, like, that matters to them. Like, that's insane. Like, I can't believe they feel these things about this, and, like, I never think my writing is good, but, like, it's crazy that other people think it is. Where Petra is, like, insecure, but she's like, oh my god, I can't believe that they would say that something is unrealistic, because, like, I am the best writer ever, so, like, the fact that they insinuated that, like, this character wasn't good is crazy. Like, the attitudes are so different. Like, I thought Lowen was kind of insufferable through Verity, but reading this, I'm like, nope, nope, I'll take insecure Lowen. I will take her not thinking she's a good writer. Because also, too, we never get any excerpts of Lowen's writing throughout Verity. Like, we get a lot of excerpts of Verity's writing, but we actually never get any excerpts of anything that Lowen has written. And I actually think that that was, like, good. I think that, it was important that we read Verity's writing in, like, the context of the story, but I think it was also important that, like, we didn't read any of Lowen's writing, because all of the picture we get of Lowen is from Lowen herself. And we're kind of left to wonder, is she as bad of a writer as she thinks she is? Is she actually a super good writer? Like, we are very much put in Lowen's head, where, we don't know how truthful these insecurities are. And, maybe she's just not giving herself enough credit. Like, maybe she actually is really, like, an incredible writer. It lends so much, like, intrigue to the book, where you're like, is she just, like, beating herself up? Or, like, is she actually not that great? Like, I don't know. It made me curious about Lowen. Where with Petra, like, everything just, like, she's insufferable. Like, I have read an excerpt of your writing, and it was bad. It was really bad. So, like, no, I think, especially when you spend the whole book, like, hyping yourself up, essentially, and acting like you're so superior to everyone around you, then, like, your writing needs to stand up for that. And the fact that we get to see her writing, and it absolutely does not stand up to that image, really, really took away from this book. Because without showing me her writing, I can imagine maybe she is right. Like, maybe she is a super good writer, and maybe she is better than the people around her. I don't know. Like, her books are really popular. Like, she can't be that bad. And then I see her actual writing, and I'm like, oh, no, this shit's bad. Like, it's not good. Like, and don't get me wrong, I don't think being a good writer has any bearing on being a popular writer, as much as it pains me to say that. Because Colleen Hoover, she's a really popular writer. She is wildly popular. She's made a shit ton of money off of writing. And her writing is not good. Like, I have read high school stories that were better written than this. So it's like, I don't think someone has to be a good writer to be a popular writer. But it's just like the fact that she sees herself like so superior, and then we actually get this view of like what she's like, and it's just bad. Like the dichotomy just is jarring, and it kind of takes you out of the book because I can't really relate to Petra in any way, and I can't really support Petra in any of her feelings or her opinions because they're just incorrect and wrong most of the time. And I really feel like this book would have benefited from more of the approach of Verity. And again, chapter 9 immediately starts with us sucking Petra's dick again about how she's the best writer ever. Because she starts, the man who always seems to be running from something, even when he's standing still. Nora practically yells the line back at me. Petra, this is so good. I'm so invested in this story, and you sent me one chapter. Girl, be so for real. Also, she said that she wrote over 10,000 words. You're telling me those 10,000 words were one chapter? That feels kind of crazy. But it's just like, and she even talks about like, this is my favorite part of writing, the peer support. Oh, your favorite part of writing is someone who sucks your dick the whole time and tells you that you're just the best thing ever and has zero criticism for you? Yeah, I'm sure that's your favorite part. Okay, girl. And and then we get another part that also is like kind of giving me AI, where she says, something is off. I can't place it at first, but there's an eerie stillness in the air. The house is so quiet. Like the world outside has gone mute. Too dark. Too silent. Too alone. That is like one of the biggest hallmarks of AI. Is that like repeated, like, it's to this. It's to that. It's to this. Like, that is actually one of like the hallmarks to like know something is written by AI. And again, I'm not saying that she used AI to write this, but she is clearly at bare minimum ingesting a lot of AI content in some way, shape, or form. Whether that means she's just using ChatGPT just like on a daily basis, or she's reading AI written content, or like something, because like she's starting to pick up those hallmarks of AI. And she doesn't do it a lot, which is why I don't think that like this book is like written by AI or anything. Like I don't think this is like a Shy Girl situation, but it's just enough, and it's sprinkled in enough that I'm like, ugh. Like I feel like she's an AI girly. Like it's reading like you use ChatGPT to like talk about your stories too, or like bounce ideas off of, or like I don't know, maybe just talk to it about your daily life or something. Like, but enough that you are starting to like talk like it, like you're starting to pick up some of its mannerisms. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like AI is literally destroying our environment, and it's poisoning primarily Black neighborhoods, but now it's starting to expand to poison a little bit of everybody, with noise pollution, literal pollution, light pollution, water overconsumption. Like AI is the fucking devil, and you will never convince me otherwise. If you are pro AI, if you use ChatGPT, if anything like that, unfollow me now, unsubscribe, block me. In fact, I don't want you engaging with my content. I don't want you arguing about it in the comments. I will delete your comments. We're not engaging with that here. AI is the devil. We're not engaging with that here. And it just, I am not vibing with it. And as if I needed another reason to dislike Colleen Hoover, like, that's adding to it. So she, obviously she wakes up and something is off. And what she doesn't realize, which crazy that she doesn't realize this, because like literally from the first sentence, I was like, oh, the power's out. Like, this literally just happened to me a few nights ago because we had some bad storms come through, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I was like, something's off. And immediately I was like, my fan's not on. The power must be out. And I was right. Power was out. So the fact that this takes her so long to pick up on, like 5 pages for her to pick up on the fact that the power is out. Like, girl, do you have no spatial awareness at all? Like, do you have zero observational skills? Because how did you not pick up on that literally immediately in this story? Like, when all the fans are off, all the lights are off, everything is pitch black. Like, you couldn't figure that out? Okay. And I'm supposed to think this woman is intelligent. And she wakes up and sees a figure in her room, which also, she has the survival skills of an ant. Like, terrible survival skills. But she wakes up and there's someone in the cabin with her. And there's a lot of weird, like, back and forth where, like, he's, like, which, like, bad, wrong. Nobody should break into your house, like, and try to, like, I don't even know, like, not necessarily kidnap her, but, like, tie her up and, like, he's kind of, like, pulling her places, but it's, like, pages and pages of him just kind of, like, pulling her around. Like, they have a lot of back and forth that seems, like, very extended. But essentially, he, like, pulls her out of bed, like, throws her in a chair, ties her up, and she is, like, at first, like, she assumes that this is Saint. Like, she literally says, in the back of my mind, a thought flashes. Is this Saint? But no, this feels worse. This feels like a nightmare I can't wake up from. And, you know, she keeps saying, like, Saint, if this is you, like, please stop, please. And literally, like, please be Saint. Please be Saint. And, you know, she keeps saying, like, you know, if this is Saint, like, please stop. Like, I don't want you to do this. Like, please stop. And, you know, he throws her, you know, into the chair. He ties her up. She is very scared. Like, it's way too strong. It's overpowering her. He's very rough with her. Not enough to, like, hurt her, but, like, enough that she's like, I don't think Saint would be, like, this rough with me. Like, this person, like, feels like they really want to hurt me. And this person ties her up and then just, like, leaves. Like, literally, like, leaves the cabin. And so she kind of waits for a second, and then, you know, she starts to kind of try to, like, free herself. And she manages to get free. And this is why I say this woman has survival skills of an ant. Because, first of all, she doesn't really try that hard to get away. And she mostly is just, like, saying full sentences over and over. Like, it's whatever. But that's fine. Like, I get it. Like, you're surprised. You're overwhelmed. That's fine. It's what she does after she gets free that makes me say she has the survival skills of an ant. Is like, so she frees herself from this chair, and do you think, I don't know, maybe she tries to, well, obviously I wouldn't run out the front door either because he's out there, but, you know, does she run to the back of the house and try to climb out of a window? Because I'm assuming a small cabin probably doesn't have a back door. But does she, you know, run to the bedroom, try to jump out the window and, like, run to Louie's house or something? No. Does she, I don't know, run to go grab her cell phone, call 911? Because she acknowledges her cell phone was there. She just, like, couldn't reach it earlier, which, like, valid. But, like, does she run to her cell phone? Does she call 911? No. You know what Petra does in this situation? She runs into the bathroom, does not lock the door behind her, just shuts it where he can fully just open it again. She runs into the bathroom, does not lock the door, and then turns on the shower and gets in the shower. Like, what the actual fuck? what are you talking about? Your first thought, this guy is still there. You haven't heard a car leave. You haven't heard this guy leave. For all you know, he's just going out to like smoke a cigarette or something. Like, you don't even know where this guy went. And you don't try to get away. You don't try to call 911. You just go take a shower with the door unlocked. And then the man comes back in because obviously he's not gone. Because there's zero signs that he left. Obviously, he's not gone. The fucking front door is still open, you dumb bitch. And he literally comes back and she realizes, yeah, it's Saint. Yeah, it was Saint the whole time. Yeah, he was that rough. He was, like, just fucking essentially trying to kidnap her and tie her up and was super rough and aggressive with her and was throwing her around and shit. Yeah, it's Saint. He turns the power back on, which implies obviously that he turned it off in the first place too, because he knows exactly where the fucking fuse box is and just flips the fuse box. And so it's very obvious, like, he did all this, and he, like, it fully admits to it, just, like, immediately, and is like, I thought you wanted this, because he just, because she doesn't lock the bathroom, he just comes in the bathroom, and he's, like, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted me to do this, and she's like, you thought I wanted you to do this? And at first, I'm like, okay, good for her. She's pushing back. She's standing up for herself. She's gonna tell this man off because he literally just assaulted you very aggressively in the middle of the night in, like, the most terrifying way possible. And she literally, like, because at first she's like, I don't care if he's sorry, I don't care if he regrets what he did, he crossed a line I thought he never would cross, and there's no coming back from that. And I'm like, thank God she's gonna tell this man off. This is terrifying. Like, why would he have ever thought that she wanted that to happen? Like, I get the flirty, like, oh my gosh, like, I want to experience the love triangle thing. Like, why would she want to experience getting assaulted? Like, be so for real. Like, why would she want to experience that? And they only offhand mention it, like, one time. Like, it wasn't like she went into intensive detail about, like, what happens and was, like, insinuating that she wanted that to happen. He's, like, asking her if Rhea ever gets hurt, and she's just like, yeah, someone breaks into her house once and, like, ties her up. And then they move on from that conversation, like, immediately. She literally goes, like, this line, like, there's no coming back, across the line. Literally, like, the next sentence, she goes, did I think he'd never cross this line? Or did I ask him to do this? No, you didn't. You never said you wanted to role play all of this stuff. You didn't even really say that about the sexual stuff either. Like, you never said, hey, let's role play. I want to reenact all the stuff that happened. You gave him no details about someone really, like, breaking into her house and all this stuff. Like, it's not like you, like, told him in detail and were, like, insinuating you wanted this to happen. Like, it very offhand got mentioned and immediately got moved on from. And then she literally, like, over and over again is like, I can't help but wonder, did he assume I wanted this? Like, did he think I was asking for this? Like, did I confuse him? Girl, shut up. You did not ask to get assaulted. You did not ask this man to violently assault you and hurt you and tie you up. No, you didn't. Nobody has ever asked for that. Like, what are you talking about? And then she literally says, do I even have the right to be angry at him for doing this? Yes. Yes. Yes, you do. What are you... I feel like I harped on this a lot in Verity, and I'm not going to do it again. But Colleen Hoover writes dangerous books. And I will stand on this. She writes books that excuse sexual assault, excuse murder, excuse regular assault, and essentially not only implies that it's okay, but that we should be rooting for these characters and like we should want them to be together and like we should be supporting these actions. Because to write a book where the main character gets very violently assaulted in their own home, and then to immediately follow that up with her saying like, this is my fault, I asked for this, I don't even have a right to be mad because like I asked him to do this, when she absolutely did not do that in any way, shape, or form. And like the rest of the book, it is literally just treated like her fault. Like she immediately forgives him, and then like they haven't even slept together yet. They sleep together like a million fucking times in this book. Like they have a full-on like relationship and like say I love you and everything like after this happens. So it's like she is teaching the young women who read these books, of which there is many. I literally bought this book. Well, this one I bought from Meyer, but the same exact book was at Target. It was just a little more expensive at Target, which is why I bought it at Meyer. And like the Target that's by my work, like I work on a college campus. There are young girls who walk by this book every single day and it is advertised to them. And it is a book that is telling them that if a man violently assaults you against your consent, that it is your fault and that you asked for it and that you don't even have a right to be upset about that. Like, that is beyond problematic. That is very dangerous rhetoric. That is a horrific message to be giving to young women and young men. But like, let's be real, most of Colleen Hoover's demographic is women. It's fine. I'll stop ranting now. I'll get off of my soapbox. And then, oh, and then she also blames herself because she forgot to lock the front door. This is the first time in her life she has ever forgot to lock the front door. And she's instantly like, well, it was my fault. Totally my fault all this happened. Not the fault of the man who broke into my house and violently assaulted me against my will. It's my fault. I should have locked the door. This is 100% on me. And then she literally allows him to like hold her. And like he kind of like gets in the shower with her and like holds her. And then he's like, I'm sorry, like I should leave. Like I went too far. Like I'm sorry, I thought you wanted this, like, that's my bad, I should get out of here. And she's literally like, no, don't leave, stay, I don't want you to go. Girl, this man just violently assaults you, and you're just like, I want him to stay, even after everything that just happened. She even says, now that I know the astounding strength in his arms, I'm aware that what I've written does not do them justice. I fought with everything I had earlier and he reacted like I wasn't even trying. Knowing he would use that strength to protect me feels comforting. He literally didn't. He has never used that strength to protect you. At no point in this book does he use any strength to protect you, because he never has to protect you in any circumstance that happens in this book. He has only used that strength to violently assault you. And the fact that you, after that violent assault, are like talking about him, like, oh my God, it's so dreamy that he's so strong and I couldn't even fight back. Like, he could have just murdered you. And you are acting like I should be like romanticizing this man. Oh my God. He could use that to protect me, but he didn't. He used it to violently assault you. He has never used it to protect you, and he never will use it to protect you. He has only used it to assault you. Like, be so fucking for real. And she even goes like, we forgive our characters for much worse than we'd forgive our friends and lovers for. And I feel like I'm lending him the forgiveness I'd lend a character rather than an actual person. Yeah, I'm not even lending him that grace. I'm not lending him any forgiveness. Why the fuck are you? Why? Why are you? And she literally even says, like, you know, because he's like, did I hurt you? Like, be honest. And she's like, I'm fine. And she goes, I offer a reassuring smile, but I'm still somewhat coming to grips with the night, with how easily I've forgiven him. Which also, fragment sentence. That's not a real sentence. Did this even see an editor? Because, like, what is this? But it's just like, she's literally already forgiven him. And then they literally sleep together. That is the next thing that happens. They literally sleep together immediately after that. This man just violently assaulted, and your reaction is to sleep with him? Also, he asks at one point, you know, like, do I need a condom? And she, like, doesn't answer, and he, like, takes that as a yes, which, like, good. But he then goes to his wallet and just pulls one out. And it's like, okay, so either he knew that he was, like, he's a married man. Like, most people are not using condoms with the person that they have married. So it implies that he either knew he was going to sleep with you, or he just keeps it around so he can sleep with other women whenever he wants. Like, the fact that you're okay with this married man who just, like, is carrying that shit around with him, like, you act like that's a positive thing, like, I despise everybody in this book. Oh my god. Oh my god. Chapter 11, he leaves and she decides to get into her car and follow him, which she does not do well. He catches her almost immediately. He pulls over, like, forces her to pull over. And he is very angry about it. You know, he does not want her finding out anything about him. He doesn't want her following him. He doesn't want her to see anything about his wife or where he lives. And then they kind of, like, hook up a little bit on the hood of her car. Because he literally, again, I'm somehow supposed to think this is sexy and, like, be supportive of this when I'm like, this is scary. Because he, like, pulls over. She pulls over behind him. He comes up to her door, opens her door, and just pulls her out of her car. Like, literally scoops her up and just carries her and sets her on the hood of her car. Like, doesn't ask her consent, doesn't ask if that's okay, doesn't even ask her to get out. Like, literally just forcibly pulls her out of this car. After he just violently assaulted you. Okay, yeah, and I'm supposed to think that's sexy? No, that's so scary, dude. So scary. And then he, like, essentially tries to hook up with her on the hood of their car, just on the side of the road. Like, I thought we couldn't even go to the bar together because we were nervous. And the bar was another town over. And now you're just, like, hooking up with her on the side of the road? Like, okay, that makes sense. And then he literally just, like, leaves her there and drives off. And he says, go back to the cabin, Petra. Don't follow me. You won't like what you find. And then she just, I do what he says. I go back to the cabin and I write. Also, again, bad sentence. I go back to the cabin and I write. No comma there. That's two sentences that you have combined into a conjoined sentence. So there needs to be a comma there. Like, has this ever even seen an editor? Like, I truly am starting to think that it hasn't. So, chapter 12 just quadruples down on the I despise Petra as a human being. So, she talks about how she writes for a couple of days, doesn't hear from him at all, and she goes, I was so fired up by the way his hands gripped my hips on that car, the way he was being such an asshole. I loved it. I loved feeling vulnerable. Again, I'm not going to get into the whole rant again, but again, we're, like, quadrupling down on, like, you should be okay getting assaulted and having men do things to you against your consent over and over and over again and like forcing you to do things. And I don't like that rhetoric. I don't like it at all. And then we get another excerpt from her book. And I'm supposed to think this girl is a good writer. Let me just read this to you, and you tell me if you think this is the epitome of writing. Every detail replayed in my mind of us on the couch, vivid and undeniable. Before he left, Cam fucked me again. On my bed. Which again, why the fuck is there a comma there? You couldn't put a comma in these two separate sentences you combined into one, but we put a comma in this one sentence in the middle. On my bed is not a sentence or a separate clause. Why would we put a comma there? That doesn't make any sense. But anyways, before he left, Cam fucked me again. On my bed. It wasn't rushed or frantic like the first time. It was slower, deliberate, as if he knew we wouldn't see each other for a while. His hands moved over my skin like he was memorizing it, like he was committing the feel of me to memory. The room has been bathed in darkness. The only sounds are shared breaths, the creak of the bed, and the occasional murmur of his voice in my ear. Yeah, dude. You're a regular Nobel laureate. You are the epitome of writing. Like, I have read much better sex scenes on AO3. Like, bad fan fiction can do this 10,000 times better than you can, Colleen Hoover. Like, how do you have a career? And then we get this fun little surprise where we learn that not only is Petra just a horrible person in every single way, but she's actually like a villain. Because someone shows up at the cabin, right? And she's like, maybe it's Mari, maybe it's Saint, blah, blah, blah. No, you want to know who it actually is? Her husband and her children. Yeah, she's married and has multiple children with this guy that she lives with. They are actively together. They are not separated. They are not even really going through a rough spot. They are together. So she's been painting this whole image like, oh, you know, like Saint's having the affair and like I should feel guilty about his wife. No, you should feel guilty about your own fucking husband who loves you and cares about you. Like, is he perfect? No. He does things that also like make him unlikable a little bit. Like, he's really worried about money and like he can be kind of catty to her about like her like not doing so well right now. And like I don't really agree with that. Like, don't get me wrong, like he's a little annoying and he's a little boring, a little predictable. Like their relationship is pretty predictable at this point. So it's like I understand that like he's a little boring, but he's not a bad person. He's never done anything bad to her. She has no reason to be betraying him like this. And she's like talking about like, oh, I feel so little guilt about I almost called her Cam, about Saint's wife. Like, I have so little guilt about that. Like, I just want to see how far I can push this with Saint. If you have so little guilt about that dude's wife, you don't give a fuck about your husband at all. You have zero concern for him. He was not even a thought. He didn't even cross your mind at any point. And so she's like really mad. And she's not mad because the reasonable reason to be mad was the fact that she does these retreats several times a year. It's like an agreement that they have that like he kind of just leaves her alone so she can get in the zone and she can just write. It's something very productive for her. Like, they have this agreement, and it's really shitty of him to just show up unannounced, interrupt her flow, disrupt everything that's happening. Like, she's gone for like 2 weeks, dude. Like, just leave her alone. Like, that's not why she's mad. She's mad that he's there because she can't keep hooking up with Saint. That's why she's upset that he shows up. Not that he like violated this boundary that they have, that they like have this agreement where he doesn't do that. She's mad that she can't keep sleeping with Saint for one day. And so like, he comes in and they're cooking dinner, and like she sneaks off to like text Saint and be like, don't come back here today. And, he's like, is everything okay? And she's like, my husband and kids just showed up. And at no point in all of this, Saint has like reiterated several times that he like feels like a dick that he's doing this to his wife, that he cares about his wife, that like he's happy with his wife, and like he feels really torn up that he is like doing this to his wife. And she has never said a word about the fact that she is married. She has let this man feel horrible about the fact that he is doing this to his wife, and then never once even mentioned that she is also doing that to her husband, or that she even has a husband. Like when she texts Saint this is the first time he's ever heard this. And I could not imagine how mad I would be if I was him. So like chapter 13, he like, they're kind of like doing life, like Shepherd, that's her husband, he's cooking, she's kind of interacting with her kids, and someone shows up. And so he's like, oh, there's a cop here, like why is a cop here? And she's like, fuck. And so they go out, and it's Saint, and he like makes up this lie that like he noticed the car, and like the car doesn't have a visitor's tag, and like they just made a new law where like everybody who comes to the lake is supposed to have a visitor's tag, which is like just bullshit. And she also doesn't have a visitor's tag, but like they conveniently ignore that part of it. Like somehow I'm supposed to believe that they would be mad that Shepherd doesn't have a visitor's tag, all while her car actively also does not have a visitor's tag and is parked right next to his. Like that doesn't even make fucking sense as a plot point. And it's weird that Shepherd doesn't point that out, that like her car doesn't have one and it's parked right next to his. But Saint's obviously like pissed. Like he can definitely like, the vibe is weird, obviously. And like Shepherd can tell it's really tense, but he like doesn't know why. Like he's very innocent. Like he never suspects anything at like any point in this book, which makes me feel even worse for him. And he's like, well, my car's gonna be gone in the morning. Like, is it okay? And Saint's like, yeah, it's okay, but like I'll be back in the morning to like make sure that you're gone. And sure enough, right after this whole thing with Saint, then Mari shows up, and she has to, because remember, she told Mari that she kissed Saint, and like it's been kind of implied, like Mari thinks that she's hooking up with Saint, and Mari also doesn't know that she has a husband and kids. So Mari is also very shocked when she finds out that she has a husband and kids, because Mari thought that like, her and Saint are getting together, which they are. And she's literally like rude as fuck to Mari. She's like, can you just come by another time? Like, we're about to sit down at dinner. And Mari's like, okay, yeah, sure, man, that's fine. Like, and it's just, and then she has the audacity to complain. And at the end she says, there's nothing comforting about any of this. Not Saint showing up unannounced, not the chilling way he looked at me, not his deliberate lie, and certainly not the looming, terrifying threat of everything I've built, everything I cherish, crumbling down around me like a house of cards in a hurricane. It's disturbing. Profoundly, deeply disturbing. And like I said, like, we never mention again the fact that he assaulted her. We are so disturbed he like made up a lie about the vehicle tags so he could like meet your husband and scope it out. But we're not deeply, profoundly disturbed about the fact that this man just violently assaulted us the night before. 3 nights before. Like, your priorities are bad. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean, girl? What are you talking about? Chapter 14 is mostly just Petra making excuses about why we should feel bad for her that she cheated on her husband. Like, literal pages of just like why I should feel bad for her. Like, even at the point she's like, I feel like I just earned the world's worst wife and mother of the century award. Yeah, girl, you're a bad person. Like, why are you trying to make me feel bad for you? And she's talking about how she like wants to enjoy this time with her daughters, but like mothering is not making her feel any better about what happened. Like, because also, like, why would it make you feel better? Like, you shouldn't feel better. You should feel bad. You are doing bad things. You are a bad person. You should feel bad. Like, why are you trying to make me feel sorry for you? And she's like, you know, I've never cheated on him before. Like, I, I, oh my gosh, I thought I was better than that. Yeah, so did I. Clearly you're not. Like, get better. Do better. Like, what do you mean? And her and like Shepard have a lot of back and forth, and like, don't get me wrong, like, it's supposed to be painting Shepard as like this, not like a bad guy, but like essentially kind of just giving her an excuse to cheat on him. Because he, like I said, he's like a little bit sassy about the fact that she hasn't been making money. And he's also a little sassy about how like she clearly just like does not want him to be there, and she's so like unhappy that he's there. And he was like, you know, the girls missed you. Like, sorry you have people who love you. Which, like, I don't like that kind of guilt tripping. But it's also like, yeah, like, you haven't done any writing in like a year and a half. You even admitted you haven't done anything in 18 months. And before you were churning out 2 books a year, and you guys were like, you were supporting the entire household. Like, I think at this point, he has kind of a right to be a little upset that you are just like throwing everything away when you are the main breadwinner. And like, your job is not that hard. Like, you write slop. Like, I don't, yeah, it's like a little reasonable that he's like upset about this. And then Saint calls her. And so she, you know, like sneaks out to answer the phone call. And he, you know, she's like, what the fuck was that? And he's like, you literally lied. Like, you're married. Like, and she's like, well, yeah, so are you. And he's like, well, I didn't lie about it though. Like, I was very honest with you from the beginning. And like, you've lied about everything in your life. Like, and she's like, I didn't lie about it. You never asked. I swear to God, it's like Colleen Hoover was like, what is the most unlikable thing she could do in every scenario? And then chose to do that thing. Because, like, what do you mean? I didn't lie about it. You never asked. Then he is like, oh my God, are you going to sleep with your husband? And she's like, well, yeah, that's my husband. So probably. Because also we find that out too. It's not like she's in a situation where her and her husband are in a loveless marriage and they like have not had intimacy in a really long time. Like, no, they sleep together like almost every single night. Like, every single night. Like, they have a very active and very healthy sex life. Like, I wouldn't say it's like particularly the most like exciting or anything, but like very regular, very normal, like healthy. Like, it's fine. Like, she's not lacking for intimacy. She is not touch starved by a husband that ignores her or only cares about his pleasure and doesn't care about hers. Like, he is a very active participant. Like, he really wants to make sure that she's enjoying it. They sleep together almost every single night. Like, she has no reason or excuse to be doing the things that she is doing. He tells her to sleep with her husband, but he wants her to like think about him while she's sleeping with her husband, which, like, whatever, like, you're already cheating. whatever, I guess. Sure. Like, he's a little jealous. That's fine. And, you know, at first she is just like thinking of Saint, like, because be realistic, like, she was probably going to do that either way. Like, he didn't really need to tell her to do that. She was probably going to do that. But she happens to like look up and glance out the window, and Saint is outside of her window watching them. And she is just like okay with that. Like, she thinks that that's like hot. Like, she later like talks about how, like, you know, that's some of like the best sex she's like ever had with her husband and stuff. And like, he's like, oh my God. And it's like, this man is so scary. And the fact that you're acting like the things he's doing are like attractive or okay or desirable is crazy. That man is like not only stalking you, showed up with your husband when you asked him not to. But he's like literally outside of your window watching the two of you. Like, that's so weird and so creepy. Like, what do you mean? Like, she literally ends chapter 15 saying, "Good night," I whisper, but the word feels hollow. Also, that's not a word. It's 2 words, and you even wrote it as 2 words. So what do you mean? You don't mean the words feel hollow? The word. Again, has this ever seen an editor? What are we talking about? But anyways, good night, I whisper, but the word feels hollow, like it's meant for someone else. Someone who's no longer standing outside my window. I need to mentally buckle up because the ride Saint is taking me on is getting way too unstable. Yeah, dude, you don't fucking think? He is literally outside of your window, stalking you. That's so weird. What do you mean? Like, he's so scary at every point, and I'm like supposed to think this is hot, and I'm scared of this man. I've been scared of him since the very beginning. He was weird 10 minutes into this. Like, how has it gone this far? Like, chapter 16, this man gets even scarier. So, you know, she sends off her daughter, sends off her husband, you know, says goodbye to them, buckles them in the car, all of that. They leave. She turns around. She goes back in the cabin, and Saint is in there. His car is not around. She has never given him a key or anything. He is just in there. And he is, like, starting to cook her dinner. Like, you are not concerned about the fact? Like, she literally says, how did he get inside? I locked the doors last night. I was so careful. How long has he been here? Has he been watching me? Watching Shepard? Yeah. That's so scary. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't the part where he's cooking dinner. But, like, the fact that there are multiple instances of you showing up to your house or literally just, like, turning around and he's just already in your house to the point that I'm getting them confused is so scary. Why are we not concerned that this man who has no key and who you didn't invite over and whose car isn't even there, like, where did he park his car? How did he get in here? Yeah, how long has he been there? Where's he parked? What, how did this even happen? How did he even get in? It's a cabin. It's not like a big house where he could, like, be hiding in the basement or something. Like, that's terrifying. And she even says, like, I don't know what it is about this twisted game we're playing that I love so much. This push and pull of control and surrender. But rather than shove him away, rather than fight him, which is what every should of my responsible married self screams I should do, I moan and pull him closer. You're the worst. You are the worst. And all of this is written like I'm supposed to like this and support this. Like, no, I don't. Like, this isn't sexy. It's scary. It's so scary. And then she literally goes, "You're insane." And he's like, "And you fucking love it." Ugh, this is so book talk coded. I hate it. I hate it. He forces her to shower because he wants to hook up with her, but he wants her to like wash off her husband. And he's like, "Get in, Petra." And she goes, "I love that he doesn't call me Rhea in this moment. When he says my name, my real name, it makes it seem like he really is jealous." Like, girl, the bar is in hell. The bar is literally in hell right now. And she even says, "I know he locked the front door. I saw him do it, but Shepard could still come back. What if he forgot something?" And it's just like, yeah, he could. You're a bad person. You shouldn't be doing this. Stop doing this. Literally just go be with your husband who treats you well, who is like a good person that you have literal multiple children with, instead of doing this bullshit and acting like I should like it. So, chapter 17, they like Saint's still over there, and they like go out on the lake on a boat, which also never mentioned, where the fuck did you get a boat? Like, most cabins don't just like have a boat available. But they go out on this boat and then they hook up in the middle of the water after having this like talk where he's like, "I wish it wasn't an affair." And then, he talks about his wife and like how he can't have kids, and like he wanted to have kids but he can't, and how his wife like left him because she wanted to have children and he couldn't provide that for her, and how he really misses her, but also like he knows that he can't provide what she wants, and he like wants her to be happy, but like it's also like tearing him up inside. And it's like this very like it's this very like emotional moment where like we're actually seeing a side of Saint that I'm like, "Oh, this is the only thing you've said that like didn't make me hate you." Like, that's heartfelt. That sucks. And he literally asks for advice. He says, do you have any advice?" And she goes, "No, I don't. I don't know how to move on either, even though sometimes I want to. But you don't have kids, so maybe it isn't as hard for you." You fucking bitch, dude. This man just had this whole conversation where he poured out his heart to you about how heartbroken he is that he like can't have children, and like his wife left him because he couldn't provide for her in the way that she wanted, and like how that's heartbreaking, but also he understands how she feels, and he wants the best for her. And for you to be like, "Well, you don't have kids, so it should be easy for you to move on. Like, no biggie for you." Girl, exactly the opposite. That's actually literally the whole problem. Like, that is one of the most callous things I think I've ever heard someone say. And like, obviously he instantly gets pissed about this, which reasonable. That was a literal cartoon villain thing to say. Why would you ever say that to another human being, especially after they just poured their whole heart out to you? Like, I don't even, again, I said this when we were talking about Verity and stuff, but Colleen Hoover writes women like she despises women. Like, she really thinks women are evil. And like, I can tell that she is the type of girl who's never had a real best friend, and who like just thinks women are below her. Like, it's crazy to read the way that she writes and thinks about women. Like, I don't know, even the worst women I know, I don't know any of them that would say something like that. Like, uh, he literally says, like, which rightfully so, he's like, "I'm not going tit for tat about this, but not being able to have kids at all is a hell of a lot harder than divorcing someone you have kids with." Which, Amen, dude. Amen. But then he's talking about how he's like jealous of, you know, the family life that she has and like how it made him angry, which crazy that there was no red flags about him literally being like, I was angry, Petra, so angry. I wanted you to get caught so you'd leave him so I could have what he takes for granted, what he barely sees anymore. And she said, the confession is a dark, dizzying plunge into his psyche, revealing a level of calculated malice that should repel me. But instead, a perverse thrill shoots through me. He wanted to destroy my life, to claim it for himself, and he almost did. Yeah, man! This dude's scary! You should be concerned! Why are we not concerned? Why are you happy about this? And then that's when they hook up together. In this boat. In the middle of the lake. Where everybody can see them. And it's obvious that everybody can see them because when they get out of the boat and head back to the shore, he has this little moment where like they see Maria like floating in the water and he's like, oh my god, I'm gonna be a big man and I'm gonna save her life. And she's literally just snorkeling and she's like, you dumb bitch, I'm snorkeling. Why the fuck would you do that? Like, do you not see me wearing a bathing suit with a literal snorkel and goggles on my head? Like, are you dumb? And like, which like, yeah, she literally says, I know how to swim, you dumbass. Like, I love Mari. She also says like, Petra laughs and she goes, I hear you laughing, twinkle twat. I love Mari. I love her so much. Because this is like the last little bit we get of chapter 17. And she ends it with saying, the fact that he's married but also available feels like a big change. I can't help but insert images of him into my future, wondering what it would be like to no longer be holding the weight that is Shepherd. The weight that is Shepherd? The man who takes care of you, who takes care of your kids, who has been with you through everything, who has been a loyal and loving husband, who you regularly have intimacy with every single day, who like makes sure that you're satisfied and like tries to give that to you. Like, the weight that is Shepherd? Girl, come on. Chapter 18, so one of her kids' birthdays is like during this time period where she's at the cabin. So she does go home for, you know, her child's birthday. And so she's at home, she's at the party, like the get together they're having. And Saint literally shows up at her house. Like, she sees him like parked down the road, like watching her house, watching her family and her children and stuff. And like, there's like, you know, her friends are there and they have a bunch of people from like the neighborhood and stuff. And so she's like furious and she like sneaks off and she confronts him and she's like, this is way too far. Why the fuck are you here? Like, you should not be here. This is too far. And he like doesn't really understand why she's upset. He's like, isn't this what you want? Like, you know, I'm just being possessive. And she's like, no, get out of here. Like, this is too far. And so he ends up leaving. And then she's mad that like he didn't want her to know about his wife or follow her, but then he feels like it's okay to like follow her multiple hours home and like sit outside of her house. And he's literally trying to like still role play. Like, he's like, Rhea, you've received death threats. I can't let you go unprotected. And she goes, dude, I don't have time for this fucking shit. Like, this is my daughter's birthday. Like, go away. And he's like, are you worried that I'm here to confront your husband? And she goes, I honestly have no idea what you're capable of. It's fucking terrifying. And he's like, Petra, I would never do that. Like, yeah, girl, you should be scared. This man's breaking into your house. He's violently assaulting you. Crazy that we never talk about that again. He violently assaulted you. Like, he's following you hours away to your real, like, home and stuff. Like, she literally says, like, I think he might be crazy. I think I might be crazy. Yes, girl. Both of you. Insane. What are we talking about? And then chapter 19, she's like driving back to the cabin. And when she gets to the cabin, he's there. This is when he's cooking her dinner. Again, He never had a key. How the fuck is he just like getting into this place all the time? And he's just there cooking lasagna. Like they didn't just have this big blowout fight right before this, when he literally stalked her all the way to her actual house. Nope, he's just there cooking lasagna, and she's like excited to see him. She even says, and good God, he's wearing socks. Why am I a sucker for a guy in a clean pair of socks? First of all, why is that what we're thinking about right now? We're not concerned about this man breaking into our house, violating all our boundaries. We just had this whole thing about how he violated all your boundaries and you were super mad about it, and now you're happy that he broke into your cabin and is cooking you lasagna. Clearly has been there for hours. And like, the bar is in hell. What do you mean I'm a sucker for a man in a clean pair of socks? Is this what we're asking from men now, is clean fucking socks? It says, there's no fear in his eyes, no apology, just a quiet intensity that sends a fresh ripple of unease through me. He doesn't say anything. Like, you're not even gonna apologize. Like, you're just here cooking her dinner? That's so scary. And, you know, she does confront him and, you know, establishes that she like doesn't like that, and he's like, you know, don't worry, like it won't happen again, you know, I'm not trying to like unravel your life, I'm just trying to help you write and like have fun. And she's like, he doesn't want to threaten your marriage. I tell myself it would be nice if he did. Girl, what do you want? Are you mad that he did all that, or are you not mad that he did all that? I just need you to make a decision, actually, because what do you mean? Like, are you upset that he's trying to threaten your life, or are you not upset? Like, I don't... I don't get it. And then they talk more about writing and how her writing is so good. And he just could not put the book down. It's just so good. And literally just pages of how she's the best writer ever. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. And then he leaves, and you know, she's like, you're leaving? And he's like, and she's like, you're leaving? And he's like, yeah, I am. Like, you have a book to finish this week. And, you know, sleep well and write fiercely. Chapter 20, it's starting to storm. Mari shows up, and, you know, they're having a little bit of back and forth, and Saint calls, and he's like, I'm coming over tonight. And they literally have that, like what I was talking about earlier, where they have that I love you moment, because he says, you know, you think I can stay the night? She says, I think we can arrange that. And he says, good. Hey, Rhea, because we're back to this fucking role play for some reason. And she goes, yes, Cam. Mind you, this is in front of Mari, who knows that she is married, which now thinks that she's probably sleeping with a third fucking guy, because she thinks that other dude's name is Saint. She doesn't know about the roleplay thing. She doesn't know about the book or anything. And he goes, I love you. And she goes, I love you too. And Mari's like, someone coming over? And she's like, Saint. And she goes, you realize you called him by the wrong name, right? Like twice? And she goes, oh, it's a nickname. You should know that. And she was like, I thought Saint was his nickname. You can't have two nicknames. And he's like, he can do whatever he wants. Mari probably thinks you're a terrible person, and she should. Because also the fact that you are now saying, I love you, to the hot cop you met like a week ago, that she knows you don't know, that she knows you are cheating on your husband with, is crazy. Like, that's so weird. And it's so weird that you're acting like that's normal and that's an okay thing to do in front of her. And then, you know, Mari leaves, and she ends up, so she's gonna go cook dinner for Saint. So she goes to go to the grocery store, and she stops at the gas station. And when she's at the gas station, she runs into Louie. And Louie and the gas station guy, they're like having a conversation. They end up Because she asks if they have any of the paper, and she wants to look up, like, the guy who, like, killed himself or whatever on her street. And he's like, nope, nobody's done that. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, there was no police chase. Like, nobody killed himself. Like, I would have heard about that if that happened. Like, this is a teensy tiny town. Like, we don't even have a Taco Bell. Like, that didn't happen. And she's like, no, it happened. Like, and she's talking to Louis, and she's like, your wife even knows about it. And he's like, we don't even have detectives here. Like, we have 2 cops, and both of them have lived here their whole lives. Like, we literally don't even have detectives. And, they're having, so she literally shows Louis, like, a picture, and she's like, is this guy, like, a police officer? And he's like, nope, like, definitely not the only 2 police officers we have. So she has a lot of back and forth where she's, like, trying to, like, make an excuse and be like, no, he does live here and stuff. And they're like, no. That dude doesn't live, he's not a cop, like, we would know, there was no police chase. And Louis even says, Petra, I don't know who this man is to you, but I can assure you he's not from around here, and he definitely does not work here. Not as a cop, not even as a security guard, not even at Taco Bell. And Bill says, we don't have a Taco Bell. And he goes to the gas station guy, and he goes, that's why I know he doesn't work there. And he's like, we know everything about town, like, this person does not live here. So obviously, Petra starts spiraling. She's like low-key thinking she just like invented this man, but also she's like, no. Like, I've been calling him, like, Mari seen him, she saw all this happen, like, it happened. It definitely happened, right? Like, it has to have happened. So she just like, she's like, I have to go talk to Mari. I have to go talk to Mari right now. So chapter 21, she like shows up at Mari and Louis' house. And she's like, she's like, Mari, open the door. So Mari opens the door, and she was like, did this happen? They're saying this didn't happen, but you saw the cops. You talked to them. Like, you told me that you saw this happen. Like, what is going on? And, she's like, Louis doesn't know anything about it. And Mari's just like, shit. And Louis also like pulls up when this happens, and she like sees Louis, and she's like, oh, shit. And she's like, Louis doesn't remember. He has no recollection of Saint ever coming to talk to you guys. And Mari's like, he's a heavy sleeper. I might not have woke him up. You should probably get back. Like, you have dinner tonight. You should be getting back. And like right away, like, it's clear that Mari is trying to get her out of there before Louis comes up. And she's like, no, Mari, like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? And, like, Louis is up there now, and she's like, see, like, Mari remembers about the police chase, and Louis like, remembers what? And Mari's like, it was nothing, just some cops asking about stuff a couple weeks ago. And Louis says, Petra said somebody died, and you didn't think to tell me about it? And she's like, Mari, you told me that 2 cops came and spoke to you and Louis about it. And Louis is just like, what the hell have you gotten yourself into this time? And she goes, nothing. And Louis is like, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. If there's a body, I don't want to know. And Mari's like, there wasn't a body, not a real one. And Louis is like, I'm going in the house. I want no part of this. Like, but whatever it is, you better tell this woman the truth, because we need that rental money, and I'm not getting sued over whatever wacko stunt that you're pulling. And she's like, stunt? Like, sued? And then she's like, Mari, just like, tell me what happened. Like, if you don't tell me what happened, like, I'm calling the police, and like, you can explain it to them. And so Mari finally admits, Mari's like, what would you even ask them? You're gonna ask them if the man you're having an affair with actually exists? Which, like, go Mari. I love her for that. And she's just like, please, I'm really scared right now. Can you just tell me what's going on? And so Mari eventually tells her that Saint paid her off. That there was no police chase. There was no other cops there. Nothing happened. Like, this guy just pulled up, and he was like, knew you, that he was just playing an innocent prank. And she was like, I didn't feel comfortable with that, so I demanded to know more. And he showed me the lights and offered to show me his identification, told me he was just there because you're a writer and you work better if things happen to you that you're writing about. It sounded like a reasonable explanation and he didn't seem threatened. Promised I could wait out by the road until he left to make sure he didn't kill you. He said he was just there to give you inspiration for your book, that it was something you two worked up. Which, mind you, her and Saint did not have that conversation until like the day after all of that stuff happened, when she texted him and like they, you know, he came over and they had that conversation about it. And so like, you know, her world like is kind of falling apart right now. Like she is like shell shocked that like he is not who he said he was, that he said that all this stuff about giving the inspiration like before they even had that conversation. And then of course she's like very upset at Mari. Like she's pissed that like, because also like this dude could have killed her, like just being like, oh yeah, you can wait and I'll prove I haven't killed her. Like weird as fuck. Like you should have instantly been suspicious. Like you should have called the cops. So she's like understandably mad at Mari. And Mari's like, well, I need money and like, you know, whatever. Like you wouldn't have turned it down. And it's like, she's pissed at Mari. So she leaves. She goes straight to her cabin. So chapter 22, she, you know, obviously tries to look up Nathaniel Saint. Nothing comes up. She can't find a single word about him anywhere on the internet. She ends up paying a bunch of those sketchy sites, and she ends up finally finding the name Eric Kingston. And then she searches even more, like finds out that this Eric Kingston, like his phone number matches the phone number that she has, and like she finds a private Facebook profile that like does have a picture of him. And so she kind of realizes like, oh, this like Eric Kingston guy is probably the guy. Like his name is not Nathaniel Saint, and he's not a cop. He's a screenwriter and has like worked on some stuff she like actually knows about. So like she's obviously freaking out. She's like, you know, how did he even know I was here? How did he know before meeting me to tell Mari that we were doing something related to my writing? Like I thought that was my idea after I met him. And so she also finds out that he lives in Los Angeles, which is like not close at all. Like it's several hours away. So it's like weird that he was like pretending to live there when he very obviously does not. And so she's like, I need to get the fuck out of here. So she is just throwing shit in her suitcase. Like she is not packing neatly. She is just trying to get out of there. And he literally shows up, which why she's surprised by that is baffling. Because not only has he just shown up all the time, constantly, like every chapter in this book, but he has broken into your house multiple times and you've just been like, okay with it. And he like shows up and he is very scary. Like he walks in first and like while she was packing stuff, like he obviously saw the laptop and he knows that she knows that he's not Saint, you know? And he like confronts her, like he kind of like corners her back into the room and like traps her in there and is literally like, why did you look me up? Like, why couldn't you leave it alone? And she's like, you literally lied about everything. Like, I needed to know that. And he's like, what did you think you were gonna find? Did you think knowing the truth would change anything? Like, what are you gonna do about it? Tell your husband? And like, he is being very scary. Like, he is not giving her a way to get out. Like, he is very much like trapping her in there. And she, you know, she's like, are you gonna hurt me? And he's like, what? No. And it's like, yeah, dude, you're being really scary. Even she said, how could he possibly think my reaction right now is ridiculous? How could he not see how terrifying this is for me? And I'm like, because he's a psycho. Yeah, dude, he's been a psycho this whole fucking time. He violently assaulted you. He's been stalking you. He was watching you outside your window. He stalked you to your house hours away during your kid's birthday. He's broken into your house multiple times. Like, why are you scared? He was lying about who he is. Obviously, he's been a fucking psycho from the beginning. Like, what do you actually mean right now? Like, did you think he was a good guy? Because everything he's done has shown this entire time that he is not a good guy. Like, I'm not victim blaming. Like, obviously she didn't deserve that, but it's like, yeah, he did a lot of very scary, very concerning red flag things, and you just ignored them all and were like happy about them. Like, you didn't think there might be more to this? You know, she's like, why did you lie to me? And he said, it's what you wanted. And she goes, it's what you wanted. I didn't even know you existed before you showed up here pretending to be a detective. And she's like, I know nothing about what happened on the road that night. You lied about everything and told Mari you were here to help me write. How would you even know to say that? And he goes, do you not remember your words 2 nights before I showed up here? And she was like, my words? What are you talking about? And he goes, your live video. You said you wished you could experience the things you write about. You said your character was a cop. I brought that to you. Which, she's like, oh my God, he was in my private Facebook group? You literally admitted that your private Facebook group had like thousands of people in it. Like, why are you surprised by that? You're a giant, like, best-selling writer that has like a movie that just came out and stuff that also got a lot of scandal. Like, you don't think there might be some weirdos in your Facebook group of thousands of people? Like, why did you think everybody in your Facebook group was a personal bestie of yours? Like, which, not that, like, she was not asking for this. I am not saying that she was asking for this. Like, nothing that she said was, like, implying that any of this should happen. But it's just, like, it's just weird to me that she's, like, so shocked he's in the Facebook group. And it's like, dude, there's thousands of people in there and you don't know any of them. Like, why are you surprised that one of them was a weirdo? Like, I'm sure there's many a weirdo in there, actually. Like, and then, you know, he's like, I've been watching you since the beginning. I've seen every one of your live videos. Like, I just left out the fact that I watched them as they happened. And she's like, do you even have a wife? Which, why is that what we're concerned about right now? Out of all the things we could be concerned about, we're concerned about if he actually has a wife. And he goes, marriage isn't really my thing. And then, like, she was trying to call 911 behind his back, and, like, he notices, and so she tries to sprint for the bathroom. She doesn't make it. He beats her there, and he, like, takes the phone, which she hasn't actually, like, pressed call yet, but he, like, takes the phone and, like, throws it, and he's like, I haven't done anything wrong, and he's, like, pushing her, and she falls back onto the bed, and she's like, what would you even tell them if they showed up here? That I role played too well? She's like, you've been impersonating a cop. And he's like, you wanted me to. Your online Q&As are an open invitation into your life. You've told readers for years what lake you come to. You let the whole world know you're here alone. You even answered my question when I asked if you'd be willing to do something like this. You said, I would do anything to be a better writer. Which, again, she did not ask for this. Her saying I would do anything to become a better writer does not mean that she was asking for this to happen. That being said, crazy that you thought your private Facebook group of thousands of people was an okay place to tell them that you were going to this lake alone, the exact location you were going to. Like, you were not worried about any crazies? Like, you were not worried about people popping up on you? Like, that is scary. Why are we doing that? Why would you be doing that? Why would you be telling people where you are? That's really scary, actually. And of course he's like trying to blame it on her and like trying to say it was like an invitation for her, like him to show up, which obviously it wasn't. Like, that was way too far. He should have never done that. Like, she obviously was not saying that she wanted any of this to happen to her. Like, that is not what she was saying when she was like, I want to be a better writer. Stop saying I asked you to do this. What we agreed to do together is different from what you chose to do on your own. And she's like, I never lied to you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you didn't lie. Like, you're married. You're a wife and a mother. Like, you pretend to be someone you're not every day of your life. Like, can you blame me for keeping my life private? Look what happened with the little information I did put out there. Which is like, and he's weird and gross and is like, I gave you inspiration. Like, this book wouldn't have even happened without me. And like, you loved it. Like, you're welcome. And then She goes, I'm not convinced I'm safe. I don't feel safe, but I'm also not convinced he has any immediate plans to hurt me physically. Girl, he just threw your phone across the room and shoved you onto the bed to yell in your face. He also violently assaulted you, something we do not bring up again. Mind you, not brought up again. Like, and you even said over and over again as he was assaulting you, like, this is too rough to be him. Like, he's actually trying to hurt me. Like, this person is being very rough with me. And how you, like, could not fight back against him because he was so strong. It was like you were fighting against not like a brick wall. And we're not worried that this man could hurt us? Like, how brain dead are you? Like, you are in a horrifying circumstance and you're just like, well, I don't think he would hurt me. He would. He already has. He literally already has, and it's crazy that we do not bring that up again. Like, why are you acting like he would never hurt you when he literally has? Oh my God. And then all she's concerned about, are you going to tell my husband? That's what we're worried about. Not if you're about to get murdered right now. You're worried if he's going to tell Shepard. That's what we're concerned about. And he was like, do you really think I'd do that to you? And she's like, I have no idea what you're capable of. And it's like, he goes, I'm capable of a lot of things, but destroying you isn't one of them. Bro, what do you think you've been doing? Like, his logic, scary. But I'm, like, more scared by her logic. Like, why are we acting like this man isn't gonna do anything to us? Like, oh my God. And he goes, do me a favor, Petra. When you finish this book, dedicate it to Saint, because he fucked that story out of you. Which, like, ew. Ew, gross. Ew. And so she's, like, I want to leave. And then she says, he completely ignores my request as if I never said it. And instead, without warning, his tongue dives into my mouth with a heat that steals my breath away. I don't want to kiss him back. I don't want to give in to the pull of him, but my body betrays me, my lips moving against his as if they have a mind of their own. This man lied about every single part of himself. He stalked you. He assaulted you. He's been breaking into your house. He showed up at your actual house with your kids there, who are young. They're very young. And then this man you're literally like, I want to leave. I'm scared. I want to get out of here. And then he makes out with you and you're just okay with it? You're into it? Like, do you see what I mean when I say this rhetoric is so dangerous? Like, be so for real with me right now. Like, Colleen Hoover, you should do everyone a favor and never write another word. She ends up, like, running away from him and grabbing the phone and grabbing the laptop and, like, getting in her car and driving off. And, she's having this whole moment of, like, how did I let it get this far? And she ends up, like, calling Shepard. Shepard calls her, but she ends up answering and being like, hey, I'm coming home early. Like, I don't feel that great. And he's, like, so sweet. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you're sick, but, like, the girls will be excited. Like, I can make you some soup. Like, hopefully you'll feel better soon. And it's like, dude, he didn't deserve any of this. You treated this man so bad. And for what? Like, for what? He is a great husband, but okay. And then she blocks Saint's number. Like, that's the end of it. And she literally goes, please, let him be finished with me. You really think he was going to be finished after all of this? After stalking you over and over and over again? Like, you really think he's just going to let that go and be done just because you blocked his phone number? He's like, he knows where you live. He literally showed up to your house. Like, where your kids live. Like, girl, you need to move. Like, right now. Like, what are we talking about? So, chapter 23, we get a bit of a time skip. It doesn't tell us exactly how long, but it's a bit of a time skip. The book of it's completely done. Like, it's not completely released, but like she has like the final bound, like hardcover now. And he's read it now, and he's talking about how much he likes it and how it's his favorite book of hers. And she's all like, oh my God, like, you liked it? And he's like, yeah, it felt really authentic. And then he asks her who Saint is, because this fucking psychopath dedicated the book to him. You know that off comment he made? He was like, you should dedicate it to Saint because he made this story happen. She literally dedicated the book to him. She actually dedicated the book to him. Like, that wasn't going to bring up questions. Like, why would we have ever done that? Why would we have done that? And so then she lies and says, you know, I held a contest for my readers. I chose someone at random to dedicate the book to. And he's like, oh, that's cool. Like, I bet it'll make that person's year. Like, he's so innocent. Like, he doesn't suspect a thing. And it's like, bro, you literally, like, why would you have dedicated the book to him? And also, like, why did you think Shepard wasn't going to ask about that? Like, he wasn't going to look at the dedication and be like, why is this dedicated to a random man? Like, he wasn't going to have questions about that? But he's so innocent. Like, he doesn't even suspect at all. He's just like, oh, that's cool. Like, and then she literally says, like, we have more sex now than before Satan came into my life. And she says that they literally do because, one, she feels bad. And she feels like she has to because she doesn't want Satan to leave her. But on top of that, she says, because I close my eyes and pretend that it's Saint. I hate her. I hate her so much. I hate her. So, chapter 24, it's another skip. Oh, and also the book that she's talking about is literally called Woman Down. Because it literally says, today is the official release day for Woman Down. Don't get meta with me, Colleen Hoover. Is like, I'm supposed to care that she's nervous about confronting people for the first time. Like, this is her first, like, event since, you know, everything happened. I literally could not care less. Like, you have made me despise this woman with every fiber of my being. Why would I care now if she's insecure? Why would I care at all about her answering questions about that stupid ass movie? Why would I care about that? Like, the fact that you're even trying to bring that back in right now, like, dumb. You've made me not care about that at all. Like, bad storytelling. And Nora's there, and, you know, they have some back and forth. Like, she's answering questions, and then Saint is in the audience, and he comes up to the microphone to ask her a question. And he literally says, where'd it go? I just have one question. Where do you get your inspiration? And she goes, inspiration comes from everywhere. Life, people, experiences. And just leaves it at that. And he goes, I have one more. Well, it's not a question really, more of a comment, but I just want you to know I couldn't put this book down. I hung on to every single word. It's almost as if I were there, in the room with you, experiencing the things these characters experience. That takes true talent, Petra. You are very, very good at what you do. And, which, like, fucked of him to say that, but, like, I guess good of him for not, like, calling her out in front of everybody or whatever. Which, like, I probably wouldn't have worked in his favor, and most people probably would have been like, this dude's crazy. So, like, I get why he didn't. And then she sees, like, because she's, like, scoping out where he is, obviously. And he comes up to, like, because she's doing, like, the book signing part of it. And he's like, can you make it out to Saint? And she takes it and then, like, writes his actual real name, like, Eric, in it. And he's like, I don't get a personalization. And so she literally writes, like, an absolute, complete, and total stranger. May you have the life you deserve. Which, like, good for her. And then, you know, he thanks her for the dedication. And she just, like, doesn't even respond to him. And so he then, like, you know, goes to, like, leave. And then he, like, oh, see somebody. And, like, he waves, you know, kind of like, oh, hey, you know. And then she sees him and Nora talking. and then they leave together. And so she's instantly concerned. She is like, because obviously Nora is also in the Facebook group, like that's the one she's been doing lives with and stuff, and she's like, oh my god, because Nora's also a writer, and she's like, oh my god, like what if he's going after Nora next, like how many writers has he done this to, like oh my god, that's my best friend, like I have to go protect her. So she like runs out and she finds them talking by a car, and she's obviously like rushing up because she's real concerned and like doesn't even think she's safe. And she's like, stay away from her, like do you know him? And Nora's like very confused and she's like, what? And he's like, she's like, stay away from her. And she's like, why are you being like this? And he's like, he's lying to you about who he is, don't trust him, whatever he says, he's lying. And Nora is just like, and it turns out that Eric is an old friend of hers. And so like they had that live, and then Eric reached out to her and they're kind of talking back and forth, and like basically like they planned together for him to show up at her house to like give her inspiration. Like it was literally planned by her best friend. And which, to be fair, like, which is like, you were just sending this random dude that you barely knew, that you knew many years ago, to this cabin in the middle, 5 a.m., to this person that you know is alone in a secluded area. Like, anything could have happened to her. And a lot did happen to her. She was violently assaulted. Like, this man stalked her. And, like, you're a woman. Like, you should know so much better than to send a strange man to this girl's house. Like, and not house, like this cabin she's staying at alone. That's even worse. Like, and like Eric told her that he only stayed for 5 minutes, that they just had like a 5-minute conversation and then he left. And she even admits, like, I haven't seen him since college. So it's like, you literally don't know this guy and you put her at risk, which obviously like Petra is very upset about it, because she goes like, you sent your friend to inspire me, you not only put my marriage at risk, you put me at risk. And she goes, I don't think I did. All I did was ask him to show up in uniform and knock on your door so you could put a face to your character. He agreed to ask you a question then leave. Did something else happen? And it's like, yeah, dude, you don't know him. You sent this random dude to her fucking cabin where she was all alone. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, that's why I was like, Nora's painted like a good person. She's also a terrible person. Like, what do you actually mean? I don't know any woman who would do that shit. Like, that is despicable. And then, Eric's like, I told her nothing, Petra. Like, I didn't tell her anything. And, she's like, oh, it's not my business, but I'm sorry. I don't know what happened between you two. Like, he said you only spoke for a few minutes, but I swear to you, like, this is what I'll believe. Like, I'm so sorry. I was really just trying to help. Like, I was going to tell you the next day, but he begged me not to. And, we spoke. It sounded like a help. And, like, Saint's like, I was there for less than 5 minutes. I left right away. Nothing happened. I just felt bad that she got scared. Like, Petra's crying now, and she asked to speak to Saint alone. And she's like, why are you here? And he's like, to get my book signed. Like, I wanted to see you. And she goes, I need the truth. Like, does Nora know? And he's like, no, like, she's being honest. Like, we don't even talk that often. Like, he was like, she knew we were in the same state. She joked that she wished I could stop by and inspire you. It was meant as a joke at first, but I'm the one who pushed her to think it was a good idea. I wanted to meet you. And then, like, I just kept it up without telling her. And, I never meant to scare you. And, like, I was attracted to you and I let it go too far and I'm sorry. And she's like, I want you to leave and I never want to see you again. And he goes, I get that, but, like, for what it's worth, I would do it again. And she goes, like, I wouldn't. Which, like, valid. And obviously she doesn't even, like, acknowledge Nora. Like, she just goes back in, like, gets in the car, goes back to the hotel. Like, just, it's like, I can't do this. Which, like, valid. Like, and then she also has this moment where she's like, This has more than likely broken trust in our friendship forever, but it isn't Nora's fault I let things go as far as they did. She didn't set out for me to cheat on my husband. That's something I'm realizing I was perfectly capable of doing with or without her help. Which is like, okay, yeah, like she didn't make you cheat on her husband. Yeah, you're just a bad person all on your own. That's valid. That's true. But she sent a strange man to this cabin where she knew you were alone, where he could have done literally anything to you, and also did. He assaulted you. He stalked you. He followed you to, like, girl, what are we talking about? What do you mean? And then you think Eric understands, right? Like you think that he got the point and he feels bad and he's not going to do it. But obviously he doesn't, because he's a fucking psychopath and he's been a psycho this whole fucking time. So why did you think this was the end? Because chapter 25, she goes to the hotel, she pulls out her laptop, and, you know, she's like looking through reviews on Goodreads because she's trying to see if she can find, like, because she knows Eric probably left a review. So she's trying to see if she can find it. And she's like, hopefully tonight really was the last of him. Like, the book's released. Like, I just need to move forward. Like, I love my husband, blah, 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 blah. And an email notification pops up while this is happening. And it says reservation confirmation. And so she pulls it up, and it's from the rental company that she uses to book the cabins. And it's for the other cabin, the one that she originally wanted to be in, but like couldn't get or whatever. And it's booked out. It's been reserved in her name for 21 days, starting next Friday, the week after this tour ends. It's marked as prepaid. She didn't make that reservation. She was like, I never would. After what happened with Saint, I vowed I'd never set foot in that town again. I know for a fact I didn't book this. Especially because also too, like, why would she book it for like a week after her giant tour? Like, one, she's probably not starting writing on something else that fast. And also, like, she's been gone on tour this whole time. Like, you don't think she wants to spend some time with her family before she'd up and do another writing retreat? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, logistically, like, she wouldn't even be able to work that out. Even if, like, you really thought that, like, she would want to be with you and she would want to, like, go to this place and this cabin with you again and, like, spend all this time with you again. Like, she wouldn't be able to do that logistically, like, a week after this big tour. Like, be so for real. But she goes, I'm trying to make sense of it all when another email notification pops up. This time it's from an email address I don't recognize. The email is short, too short. All it says is, I think it's time we start working on your next book, Petra. Like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? The first thing you should have done was tell your husband and call the fucking police. Because this man assaulted you, stalked it. Like, how many times do I have to say this? I think Colleen Hoover should not be allowed to write books ever again. And I set out into this book purely focused because I read the first like 3 or 4 chapters and I was like, oh my god, this is such an interesting contrast to how she wrote Lowen and how she wrote about writing in Verity and about the publishing space and about all of that, like fans, reviews, all of that. And so I set out, I was like, oh, this will be such an interesting comparison. Like, that's a great thing to compare to. How did she write about writing then versus now? I did not expect this book. Like, Verity was bad, but it was almost like so cartoonishly over the top with him being like a constant murderer and stuff that, like, it was really bad and I think very dangerous rhetoric, but also like it was so over the top where like this is scary. Like, the fact that you would conceive of this, that you think this was okay to write, that you would like quadruple down on like so many of these things being okay and like being acceptable. Like the fact that she gets violently assaulted like here in the book and we still have never mentioned that again in the whole rest of the book. crazy. Crazy. Like, the things that get excused and overlooked, and like the fact that like even at the very end when he is so scary and it's like, oh my god, this man's about to murder me, and she still makes out with him, like it's cool, like it's like, you can write a character that has conflicted feelings, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with like writing a character that like maybe does some bad things or like has some conflicted feelings about like the things that they're doing. Like, that's not the same as just totally excusing assault and stalking and like acting like it's hot and like I should be into that. And like, this is not an okay thing to be selling to young women. Like, this is not the message that we need out there in the world. It's not. It just simply is not. Especially when it's also written so poorly. Because like you're also not even gonna write it well. On top of that, you're gonna write this book with a horrible message and horrible story, and you're not even gonna write it well. Like, the actual audacity of Colleen Hoover is crazy. But yeah, that was Woman Down. I actually am like very excited to watch other reviews of this now, because I've been holding off because I wanted to experience it first. I didn't want it spoiled for me, and I wanted to be able to talk to you guys about it first. But I am very excited to watch other reviews of it now, because I have to know how other people have taken this book. And I would love to hear your opinion down in the comments. Like, do you think I'm overreacting? Like, did you feel the same way about this? Because, oh my god, this was crazy. And like I said, I cannot believe this made it through editing. I cannot believe it. And I don't even think it made it through editing, seeing how a lot of this was written. But I've got to hear other people's thoughts on this, because this one was crazy. So yeah, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought of it. Like this video if you enjoyed it. That always helps promote it out there. Subscribe if you want to have more unhinged rants about crazy books. And I'm also thinking of doing some more enjoyable books after this. I'm definitely gonna do more hate reads. Maybe not necessarily of Coho, but like, don't get me wrong, we're gonna talk about some more crazy books and some unhinged books. But I also might take a detour and maybe talk about some books that I've enjoyed. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that idea. And yeah, it was great to see you here. And if you made it all the way to the end, I love you for that. And I'll see you in the next one.